Good afternoon, good evening to Sector 1 Sim Racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. Welcome back to another round of Sector 1 Sim Racing action. We are back again in Italy as we were last week for Group A. This time we're here with Group B, that's Division 4 and Division 2. So two races back to back for you this evening, both complete with qualifying sessions to go hand in hand with that. First round of the season for these guys, and we got some new faces, we got some veterans as well making their returns. A lot of really promising drivers starting off in Division 4 down the bottom end of Sector 1, and we've also got Division 2, the guys who are trying to get that elusive Division 1 spot for next season and going for that title fight there as well. My name is Atom. I am your host once again. As I was last week, I am here to call the action once again at Lake Maggiore in Italy, and I am joined by a debutant in the box, as we had two of last week as well. We are joined by Robert Rice, or Revs. Welcome along, mate. How are you doing?
Doing well, mate. Really looking forward to today.
Good to have you, man. We're happy to have you here, and much appreciate you you joining and lending a hand. Doing your part for Sector One and making the world a better place.
Yeah, I really like doing race directing for Div 4, considering what happened last season, and really interested in seeing how all the guys do, including the
Yeah, of
new
course.
ones.
You'll be very familiar with this field, I'm sure. And we did see you last week as well in Division 3, first time around. I'd actually, while you're here, I'll get your thoughts on that race actually. So how'd you feel your first run in Div 3 went?
All right, qualifying, two lads slipped out in front of me, so it sort of put me off on qualifying. But I got pretty lucky at the start of the race and got around a few of the drivers, and yeah, I just couldn't keep off the leaving spiel. He had more speed. I just couldn't get into the 146s. Not sure why. Maybe it's damage on the car that I got at quality. I'm not sure exactly how all that stuff works, but yeah, it went really well. I was quite happy with the third place in Div 3 for my first. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a solid start to your Div 3 campaign. Was very impressed in the box, and I think I had Snake Eyes watching alongside as well, and he was real stoked for you. I think he's one of your training partners. Is that right?
Yeah, man, we do practicing all the time. So, including in the end of last year when we met. So, yeah, in actual fact, he's one of my favorites for tonight's race.
Of course, he's competing in Division 4 tonight as well, so you might have a little bit of a unbiased cheer for him going on. We'll have a look while we're here as well at the driver list for this season. So, first up tonight, Division 4, so that's the column on the right-hand side of your screen. There are a couple of errors on that list, by the way, just to remind you, because there were some late withdrawals from the season and replacements, of course, for them. So, Benny X no longer competing in Sector 1 as of this season just due to personal reasons, and I can't remember who he was replaced by. He was replaced by
Mad Rick.
Snake Eyes. He was replaced by Snake
No,
Eyes for me. Oh no, Madrick. No, you're right.
Mad Rick. Yeah.
Madrick, that's right. Madrick will be competing in his place, so he's not on that list there. Snake Eyes is there towards the bottom. Bog's Ear, second from the top there. He's one of your training buddies as well. Is that right, Rivs?
Yep. Yep.
Yep, so you spent a
Yeah.
little bit of time training with him. He's a debutant this season, so first season was Sector 1, and one of those guys in that crew, so spends a lot of time training from what I hear, so expect big things from him coming in first time around this season. Debrev returns. We've got Diabolus as well, making his second start to a season. I don't believe he completed last season, but he will be having a crack at this season. See how far he gets. Renegade for Hooncorp there, down there, and Keza Johnson returns again. Laminator for his second season here. Malevolent One, Heady Pops, Sizzling Sausage, Snake Eyes, as we mentioned before, Spitzy. Notable mention for VF there, second from the bottom. He's been promoted to Division 3 as we saw last week. So he competed in there, and he actually had a really good result as well. I believe it was P5 in the end. He's been
Yep.
replaced by the new Brocchio 5 sim racing entry. I forget who that is, but they were replacing a driver from Division 3, and then with the pace differential, administration decided to swap them around and put them in Division 4 in place of VF, who got a promotion to Division 3, which I think he'd probably be quite happy about. Bumble RMR completes the Division 4 roster for Season 8. Those are your drivers that you're going to be looking out for here, and there is Division 2 as well. Action on later on tonight. The second column on the list there. Hatstar, DP Mario, who I believe might have withdrawn as well. It was a little bit of a struggle to keep up with some of these things. It's almost like F1 silly season Evil Evo 9, Karen Unleashed, Lunacy, Mr. Bumcrack, or The Plumber, as he's more popularly known, Old Wakey, PLE Black Friday, Race Fan, Dadson, Maverick. I get the feeling Maverick might have also withdrawn and been replaced as well, but I could be wrong. Stickers, Tim Durags, and Blind Man Complete Division 2. They'll be the guys to look out for later on tonight, but first we have Division 4 action coming up. A reminder of our calendar for the season as well, if you're not familiar with it yet. We are at Lago Maggiore for round 1 this week. Next week we move on to round 2 at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, which should be very exciting, a high power track. One of those ones where slipstream becomes a bit more of a thing, and the guys will have to think about that and incorporate it into their strategy a little bit. Dragon Trail Seaside is our host for round 3, and that is the sprint round, so 2 sprint races back to back. Should be awesome fun based in Croatia. We head to Brazil for round 4, the Autodromo de Interlagos, a Grand Prix track, very, very famous among many motorsport circles. Round 5, we head to Circuit de Saint-Croix in France, a fictional circuit, much like the one we're at this week. And then round 6, we head to Autopolis Racing Course in Japan, and that is followed by round 7 at Kyoto Driving Park, Yamagiwa, the Yamagiwa layout. I believe that's the western side of the circuit, also based in Japan, and also another fictional circuit. And then round 8, the grandstand finish for the season, Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans in France, and that's an endurance round as well, so a very, very special round coming up there. Revs, I have a question for you. Which round are you looking forward to most this season?
St. Croix.
St. Croix, very interesting, because that's, by all accounts, that's the Deeds stomping ground. So, do you have any of the Deeds drivers in your division that you have to compete with?
Do
I get the feeling there is
yes, I
one.
do. Yes, I do. Yeah, Gur, isn't it?
Graham, I think Graham might be Doghouse, but I know there is one. I forget which one. Maybe it is Graham. But, yeah, I know there is one in there to contend with, because we did see him last week. But yeah, so they might provide some trouble for you at St. Croix. They do like that circuit, the old Deeds boys. But yeah, we've also got a little bit of a team breakdown for you guys. Let's have a little chat about Black Rose Racing. These guys joined Sector 1 Sim Racing last season, so this is the second season in Sector 1 Sim Racing in the league here. They recorded a 12th place finish in their debut team's championship entry last season. So 12th out of the 14 teams. So not a rocket start for the guys, but a good entry into the championship. And they'll be looking to improve on that and dip into top 10 this season. Their highest recorded Drivers' Championship position was 5th. So their best performing driver scored a 5th place in their respective division. In the championship points, that's not on track in a single race. That's over the course of the season. They had 3 podiums in said debut season. I suspect one of those at least was recorded by the 5th place driver. And they scored 788 team points altogether over the last season. So, Category 2 driver, Division 4, you've got Sizzling Sausage to look out for. He's the Black Rose entry for tonight in Division 4. They do have a Division 3 driver in the form of Squirrel as well, who competed last week. And then in Division 2, later on tonight, they got double entry. They got Old Wakey and Lunacy, a dynamite pairing there in the Cat 1 grouping later on tonight in the action. You see them on track for some racing. Now, let's move on to our host circuit for the evening. Now, this is Lago Maggiore, based in Italy. It is a fictional circuit, as mentioned a little bit earlier. Now, this circuit was basically the director of Gran Turismo, or Kazunori Yamauchi's vision of what the ultimate Grand Prix circuit would look like. If Formula One had to design their ultimate Grand Prix track, this is what he believes would be the perfect track for Formula One. So you've got tight hairpins, you've got long straights, you've got power sections, you've got high downforce twisty sections, and some very, very difficult corners all up and down the circuit. So you've got to be on a knife edge all the way through. For our drivers tonight, we have 3 times tyre wear and 3 times fuel wear, and the racing soft tyres are the tyre of choice. Later on in the season, we will switch up the options when it comes to tyre selection, but for this round, we're keeping it nice and simple, just a single tyre compound for our drivers. Move into strategy very shortly as well. So here is a breakdown of the strategy guesstimates that we've got at the moment. We did see that action last week showed more favour to the one-stop strategy, 13 laps and 13 laps, splitting the 26-lap race in half. And the only people who might be interested in doing a 2-stop will be the drivers who maybe drive on a controller and have issues with tyre wear. But it seems to be that the one stop is the way to go for this track here. So I think we are not too far away from getting the action started. I want to go to you, Revs, for a quick minute and just hear what you have to say when it comes to who you think will perform well in the race this evening.
Well, we got a few wild cards, so can't pretty much guess on what they're going to do. But if it goes by any of the practice, I look at Snake Eyes to be at the point end. After watching the room earlier, I also have to give a big hit to who was it? Malevolent One. Laminator did very well at the end of the season last year, and PD Pops was doing some really good times. So I think they're the ones to watch out for.
Right, so a handful of entries that could really mix things up. You'll forgive me if I root for Snake Eyes and Madrick, of course, my two drivers for Respawn Esports. And also as well, a couple of entrants in this race from Hooncorp Esports. So that was your team last season. Will you have a little bit of support for them, or did you leave the team feeling like, oh, I don't know about those guys?
Oh, Nismo Nate is an awesome team owner. I was really at home with Hooncorp. It was only because I was really good friends with Crazy Good Kung Fu, and I went to Kung Fu Racing. Otherwise, I would have stayed. So, but Bogsy IR, he's got some big shoes to fill, and let's hope he can almost do what I did last year, maybe. Other than that, yeah, my thumb is going in the area of Snake Eyes for the season. So I reckon he's going to be in a podium area at the end of it.
Yeah, I like to hear you cheering for Respawn over Hooncorp. But yeah, the two Hooncorp entries could be particularly strong. I think we are waiting for someone to re-enter the lobby. We've got someone who's bailed out and is heading on back. But a reminder of your drivers in the race this evening. So top on the right-hand column, Benny RX replaced this season by Madrick, 1972. And then we've got Bog's Ear for Hooncorp Esports. We've got Debrev there, and he is representing, I believe that is CP Motorsports. I'm just having a look at the livery on the side of the car. Look, I'll get onto the track while you guys aren't watching and have a quick look. See? No, we can't. That is, oh, that might be ISA Esports actually. I do forget. ISA Diabolus, who will be driving for ISA, no doubt. ESR Renegade, that is a driver for Hooncorp Esports. And then we've got Keza Johnson driving for, I believe, Brocchio 5 Sim Racing. That's off the top of my head. I think that, yeah, that is correct. Oh, God, I'm getting good at this. And then Laminator driving for, if he remained with his team for last season, it would be Lightning Motorsport, if I remember correctly. And indeed he is. The Merlin on the side of the car, I see that there. So that's a Lightning Motorsport entry for Division 4, Malevolent One. Now, he's driving for, I think that might be the Black Rose entry. I think we actually talked about that before. And Petey Pops. So he's just re-entered the lobby, so we are just about good. Actually, no, that's not him. That's someone who should not be in here. So I'll let you get rid of them. Revs, very good. And then Petey Pops, who is on his way back. We've got Sizzling Sausage. That was, I believe, the Black Rose Racing entry. I'm just having a look for him on side there, Black Rose. So that would mean that Malevolent One is not Black Rose, and he's driving for someone else. So I'll have to have a closer look at that livery when on track.
Deeds, is he with
Deeds? He is Deeds. There we go. The Deeds logo is white on silver, so it's hard to see on the smaller graphic there. So I'm sure you can forgive me for that. We've got Snake Eyes there for Respawn on his debut season. Sorry, not debut season. He joined late last season, so he's not entirely new to Sector 1, but this is going to be his first full season with the crew, so definitely keep an eye out for him. We've heard good things so far. Spitzy, he drives for, where are we? He's driving for, I believe that's Kraken Esports, the black and orange. So we'll keep an eye out for him when we do go to track eventually. VF, who of course got promoted, he's been replaced by the Wartime, who's driving for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing. So that is our new entrant that we didn't mention a little bit earlier. Wartime 666, driving for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing. Should feel right at home in Division 4 and hopefully looking to put in a strong debut performance. Womble for Red Mist Racing will complete the grid, and we do have a full complement tonight, assuming Petey Pops does return, but we're just waiting on him to come back, we'll just go over our track map once again. Have a quick look there. So a little breakdown. If you wouldn't mind, Revs, you drove this track last week. Could you give us an idea of how the track kind of feels when you look at the map? What kind of stands out to you as far as important corners and important parts of the track?
Well, I think this track is very technical. Even if you miss a gear going up, miss a gear going down, I think you're going to be in trouble. Corners 6, 7, and 8, that fast left-hander, as the tires start to wear, you really got to look out for it. On corner 4, you got the dip over the hill. You very easy to lose your rear end on the tires there if you're hitting the petrol too heavy at the end. So yeah, I think those are going to be the places to look out for incidences. But as far as passing goes, I would have to say going into corner 5. And of course the hairpin, which is corner 9, I think. I don't know the name, so forgive me.
aptly named NASCAR amongst the Sector 1 faithful. We do have corner names for these fictional tracks. The admin team have put together a handful of names, but I can't remember all of them. So what I do know is that the first 2 corners, the chicane there, are named Tiramisu. And the big banked corner down the bottom of the circuit there, the sharp corner down the bottom left-hand side there, that's known as NASCAR because it partly resembles a NASCAR circuit, the big bank corners. It's a very steep angle banking, but it's not a long corner. It's more of a hairpin by what we see on track there. And then you got the S's up the hill, and I believe it's corner capo up the top, the double right-hander. Or maybe it's the right and the left as you come out of there. I can't remember which sequence of corners labelled that. But those are the names that I do remember. There is a name for the last corner as well. I know that, but I forget what it is. But the corner that Revs mentioned, which I think sticks out to me as well, is turn 4. So you see the little yellow marker on the track map there. You head down there. You've got turn 1 to the left, turn 2 to the right, turn 3 to the left, and turn 4 to the right. The very top right-hand side of the circuit. That corner is a very, very straightforward corner until you get to the exit. And as Rev said, there's a little undulation on the way out of the corner. It's almost like a little bump in the road. And if you're on throttle there completely, then the back end can slide out. So you've got to be extremely careful, especially when you start wearing out the rear tires on the throttle out there. You've got to use all of the track on the way out. It's very difficult to get a track limit penalty, so you can go wide out of that corner. But you've got to be a little bit careful on the throttle when it comes to having steering input on the way out because it's very easy to lose the back end. I think we actually did see someone last weekend actually go into the wall there at the same moment. In any case, we do have a full complement now. Our drivers are ready to rock and roll. I think it's about time we get this qualifying session underway.
And here we go. Good luck, everybody.
All right, good luck to our drivers. If you're at home, sit back, relax, take off the high-vis for the day and put on the pajamas and enjoy the show. We are about to get this Division 4 qualifying session underway for our drivers. The first round for several debutants here at Lago Maggiore. These drivers have it in for them this evening. I think it's going to be a big challenge to overcome for a lot of them. First time on the track. In Sector 1 sim racing for a lot of them. So, I'd say we pick it in the guts, Revs. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay,
My
drivers.
button's pink with purple polka dots, by the way.
Put a few specs on it to spice things up for Carbonboy when he comes in a little bit later, I see. Alright, so Division 4 qualifying. Our drivers are in the pit lane. It is time to get this show on the road for the evening. First car's out on track. So, now that we've had a look at our driver list, I think it's about time we have a look at the drivers as they are on track and get you guys familiar with the liveries and what we're going to be seeing on track. So, out the front, that's not out the front, that's Laminator, who's got a little bit sideways out of the pit lane. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm familiar with that sort of accident. I'll leave those of you who know to have a little chuckle to yourselves. But in any case, let's have a look out front. I'm just having a little bit of trouble because the order is so jumbled up. I do get that sometimes. So Laminator, not out front. Who is out front? There we go. That was Bogsy, I think it was. Snake Eyes out the front. Right, here we go. Snake Eyes on the outlap. So you can see him driving for Respawn Esports there in the McLaren spec livery of several years ago. That's the old West-inspired livery, the black and the white, with Snake Eyes on the side. Easy to differentiate him from his teammate Maverick. Bogsy, a debutant in Sector 1 Sim Racing, driving for Hoon Corp, and another one of the guys that you train with, Revs. So Bogsy and Snake Eyes on familiar terms, I would presume.
Yeah, we've had lots of practice with them. If they have any speed like they did in practice, they should perform very well.
Looking forward to it. Petey Pop's there in third place at the moment on track. Actually, he's behind Maverick there. We'll get to him in a minute. But Petey Pop's representing Doghouse, I believe it is. Yep, indeed it is. And then we'll have to move to... Where is it? Order's been all mixed up. Maverick, there he is, in the Respawn Esports car. Second of the two Respawn entries in Division 4. You see Maverick on the side there. So his debut here in Sector 1. Be very interesting to see what sort of times he puts down. I can tell you from inside, wow, how has he set a lap time, technically? Do you see that, Revs? Is that
yeah, 157.044.
That's very weird. Now that is some sort of bug with the game by the looks, and actually I think all of these drivers have been put into... Oh, I see what's happened here. No, I don't see what's happened.
It should have gone straight into qualifying. I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, this is a qualifying session of something. This is a Gran Turismo thing doing Gran Turismo things right now. Now let's have a look and see if we can find who's out front. Very strange. I've never
They're all
seen
moving very slow.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes is still going. So it's almost like there was a 1 minute timer or a 2 minute timer for qualifying instead of the full 10 minutes. Is it possible that the settings were incorrect?
No, shouldn't see how. They're having problems with 4, 5, 6, 7.
There's only
They're all
two
slow.
cars that are still in control. So these cars are being auto-driven at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll take us over to our slideshow just to get us off the track, because this is not what we want to be operating at the moment. And I'm just going to back out quickly. I'll let you leave things to run as they are. I just want to have a quick look at the setting. And time limit for qualifying was set to 10 minutes. Very odd. For that to happen. That's a very weird thing to happen. We'll just have to restart the qualifying, as obviously no one has set a lap time. Snake Eyes has set a lap time there, but that's obviously not going to count for those reasons. Everyone else obviously didn't get a go, and there it has ended. So that is a glitch that I have never seen before, and I'm going to have to record that and send it away to Polyphony Digital to be reviewed for sure. But I would say...
I've never seen that either.
So head over to the crown icon and go end race, and we'll just start that again. Hopefully, no different. I'll give you a moment to send a message to the guys to just let them know what's happening and let them know that it was some kind of bug. But we'll get back to that in a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to talk to our spectators once again. Actually, I'm going to talk to you guys about a team that we talked about last week. Actually, that's the wrong animation, but in any case, it was relevant because we've gone through the APR automotive tire and fuel update animation to go to the APR Motorsport team profile. So here we have a team profile for one of the teams that has been around since Sector 1 Sim Racing's inception. A founding team. This is their 8th season on board with Sector 1 Sim Racing. They were previously known as Obsession Motorsport, and they have taken on a new identity for this season, in line with their new sponsor, and of course the sponsor being the business owned by team owner Adam Pruitt. The highest position in the team's championship in the past has been 5th place, so they're definitely a roundabouts and one of the competitive teams at the top end of Sector 1 Sim Racing, and they have one drivers championship to their name, so a winner of a drivers championship runs in their team. So they don't have any drivers competing this evening. We saw them last week. That was Carbonboy and Pruitt in Division 3, and Lenosis and Ricky Bobby in Division 1. And Carbonboy will, of course, be joining us for the race director duties of later on this evening. Now, Revs, are we ready to try that one more time?
We sure are. I double-checked everything. It all seems to be on the up and up here. Let's see if it'll go again.
It looked all good to me as well, so I guess we'll give it a crack and see what happens.
All right, here we go.
This time. Hopefully this time we
Fingers
get our
crossed.
guys going. We didn't quite get through the field either, so this actually gives us a bit of a chance to try that again. We'll have a little bit of extra time to see our guys through there. So we'll head over to Division 4 qualifying in just a moment. Now, our guys have a 10-minute qualifying session should everything go to plan this time around. I'm just going to actually check if the timer is correct. I don't actually see the time. But that might just be times spectating. So that will be something that we'll check out a little bit later on. If we have the same issue again, we'll simply reboot the room and start things from scratch. Similar setting. So, let's move over to our qualifying session. Here we go, 10 minutes of qualifying for our drivers in Division 4. Now, Diabolus out front, who we didn't get to last time. Now, he's the team owner for ISA Esports. The symmetry signs on the side of the car there, their main sponsor. We've got Snake Eyes there in second, who we talked about a little bit before from Respawn Esports. Boggs here for Hooncorp, a debutant this season. Sizzling Sausage for, I believe that's Black Rose Racing. Indeed, it is. Big Penrite sponsorship on the hood of the car. Now, that is a huge sponsor to pick up for Black Rose. They'll be stoked with that. Peter Johnson for Rocky 05 Sim Racing, second season in Sector 1 for these guys. Owned by the six-time champion, Rocky 05 himself. So, definitely got the resources to win championships. So, definitely keep an eye out for Keza. Petey Pops in sixth, driving for Doghouse Motorsport. You can see the blue livery, blue spec livery there on the side of the car. Laminator for Lightning Motorsport. We've got Spitzy down a little bit further down for Kraken Esports. Now, I believe this is his debut season as well. I don't recall him competing last season, but I could be wrong. Malevolent one for Deeds. Now, that was the Deeds entry we were talking about before. Wartime on debut for Hooncorp Esports. Sorry, not Hooncorp Esports. That's Brocky 05 Sim Racing. I was looking at the Hooncorp Esports car thinking it was him, but not the case. And it looks like we've got the same issue again. So we're going to have to do a lobby reboot of some sort and start things again. So we will go to a quick intermission while we get this sorted out for you guys, and we will be back very, very shortly to get back to the action. We'll get this all sorted for you. See you in a minute. Hello and welcome back, Sector 1 Sim Racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. We are back up and running. Our lobby has been rebooted, and with a little bit of luck, we'll get our race underway. First time of asking, or qualifying session, successfully underway. First time of asking this time around. So we'll give the drivers a minute to rejoin us in our lobby session. But we should be back on track, ready to roll soon. Our apologies for the delay. Just Gran Turismo 7 doing Gran Turismo 7 things. We're no stranger to these sorts of issues, but there's always a way around it, and we will find a way, as we always do. So, a few minutes for our drivers to return to the lobby. And speaking of our drivers, while we're here, we'll have a quick look at our driver list. So, a reminder, Benny X at the top there on the right-hand side for Division 4 was withdrawn from the season and replaced by Mad Rick. We've got Bogsier there for HomeCorp, Debrev, Isa Diabolus for Isa Esports, Renegade for HomeCorp Esports, Keza Johnson for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing, Laminator for Lightning Esports, Lightning Motorsport, my mistake, Malevolent One, Petey Pops for Doghouse, Sizzling Sausage, Snake Eyes for Respawn Esports, Spitzy, VF there, who was promoted to Division 3 and replaced by Wartime for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing, and Womble RMR from Red Mist Racing, the team owner of Red Mist Racing and a stalwart of Sector 1 Sim Racing community and the competitive side. He's been around for a long time, a livery maker as well. And big thanks to him for the Respawn Esports liveries, actually. He's designed those, as well as his own Red Mist Racing liveries, which we will see on display tonight when we finally get on the track and actually have time to go through our driver list. So hopefully we'll get that all first time of asking this time around. So our settings have all been checked and double checked. We've made sure that we're all clear on everything. It looks like just about everyone is in the room, but we're just waiting on entrance. One person to go. We've got one person get to join the room, and then we will get underway once again. Third time is a charm, as you all know. So let us know while you're at home what you're snacking on, what your favorite driver is, and who you think is going to be the #1 finisher here in Division 4. Looking at that list right there, I have no doubt there will be a lot of support for Womble, as there always is in the chat. Driver of the Day nominations through the roof for that man, so we will undoubtedly see something like that for him. But we heard before our hot picks for this evening. There's a handful of guys to look out for. Snake Eyes was one of them. Bogsier, another quick guy around the track. Malevolent One, another one that is has big things expected of him as well this evening based on track. And I think Malevolent One might actually be the one person that we're waiting for. So one of those speaking of moments. Hopefully speak of the devil and he shall appear. But we'll hopefully see that very, very soon. I'm seeing Driver of the Day Atom in the chat. So I will graciously decline that one, I think. I've got George Cook in the chat saying, my vote's on Snake Eyes. Snacks are salted cashews. Drink is whiskey. George Cook is parked up, ready to rock. That sounds like a fantastic evening of spectating the Sector 1 Sim Racing Championship here. I challenge anyone to beat that setup right there. Salted cashews and whiskey. That is fantastic. And he's voted for one of the favourites as well of the race. I think his chances are high as far as a trifecta there coming through for George Cook. Water cordial and popcorn for Diabolus Gaming. Laminator for the win as well, his vote over there. Diabolus Gaming, are you also competing in Division 4 this evening? I think I'm seeing correlation between Diabolus Racing and Isa Diabolus, no doubt. Close to being the same, if not the same person. I've got a good luck to all Div 4 drivers as we echo that here in the comms box. We are hopeful of a nice clean race from our drivers this evening, as was on display last weekend for Division 3. But we are all ready to rock and roll. Third time's a charm. Revs, let's give this one a crack and see what we can do.
And we're off.
Right, qualifying for the third time of asking is going to get underway very, very shortly. And with any luck, no more errors thanks to the game. A full 10-minute session for our drivers would be beautiful, please. Gran Turismo 7 Gods and Polyphony Digital. Help us out a little bit. Give us what we need for the evening of action. I hate to think what we'll have to do if this one doesn't go to plan. We'll move you over to our qualifying screen now. Here we go. 10 minutes of qualifying action for our drivers. We are led out by Wartime for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing. Let's have a quick look up and down the grid. Number 14, Wartime there. 666 on the side of the car. On the side of the username, rather, there on debut season this time around. Isa Diabolus in second, team owner for Isa Esports there as well. And Madrick, our debutant for Respawn Esports as well, on track there. Currently the third car out. Now, what's interesting is we've had a couple of attempts at getting this session underway, and it's been a different couple of leaders each time, but both times I noted that Snake Eyes was one of the first cars out on track. Now, he'll be very disappointed, I'm sure, that he's not one of the first out this time. It'll be just his luck if this is the session that goes right. He's stuck behind traffic because he was let out of the pits a little bit later, as things happen in Gran Turismo 7. We've got an off in the background there as well. Petey Pops in P4 there for Doghouse Racing. Keza Johnson for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing. Spitzy there for Kraken Esports in the beautiful orange and black. I'm really loving the new style on the Kraken Esports cars. Snake Eyes there for Respawn Esports. Saw him make an overtake there on the back straight as well, so definitely stamping his authority on this one. Renegade for Huncorp Esports makes his return for a second season. Now, he was a bit up and down last season in terms of results. Some weekends he was right up there on the podium, solid result getter, and other weekends he was off the pace, down the back, suffering incidents and all sorts. So he'll be hoping for a nice clean start to the season to kick off his campaign in Division 3, Division 4 rather, this season. Season 8. Debrev there, driving for, I believe that might be Obsession Mode, not Obsession Motorsport, but APR. No, it's not. Oh, goodness me, I've really got to get this one right. That might be CP Motorsports, actually. I think it might be. I see Next Level Racing on the back, so it's highly... Yeah, I'm reminded by the Minecraft symbols on the front. So you see on the bonnet there, the blocky sort of design. That's definitely the CP Motorsports car, as I remember from last weekend. So Black Rose, represented by Sizzling Sausage this time around. First time seeing that car on track here. And we've got Laminator for Lightning Motorsport in 11. Bogsier in P12 for Uncorp Esports, another debutant in this season. Malevolent one of our hot picks for this evening, and a favourite to do well, driving for Deeds, as we talked about before. And there is Womble RMR. First time we've seen him on track this evening, despite having 3 goes at starting qualifying. You see Liquid on the back there, underneath the rear wing, and he's got that trademark livery that we looked at last weekend on Levenspiel's car. Now, we talked about it last weekend, and I'm going to say the same about it again. So it's designed to mirror the designs of the clothing that Trademark design and sell. And what they sell is workwear. So it's sort of like your high-vis tradie clothes that you wear on the job site. You know, it's heavy-duty stuff. But clearly, as you can tell by the design, it's designed to be loud and proud and aggressive, and something that you take note of and go, hey, what's up with your shirt? And the whole point of that is that it is a conversation starter. You'll see written on the car as our first time start coming in. We'll check those out in just a second. There's a couple of things on the car that say this is a conversation starter, and that is the whole point of their business, is to start conversations and hopefully lead those conversations to an area of support between people for when it comes to mental health and things like that. So that's what they're about at Trademark, and a major sponsor for Red Mist Racing this season, which is what we love to see. Now, our provisional pole sitter is Sizzling Sausage for Black Rose Racing, who's just dipped off the track on the outside of turn 1 there. Probably just bailing out of his next lap, I would presume. I don't think that he's having the same issue that we had last time around. I don't think so, no. So off he goes once again. Now, Boggs here, provisionally P2. Womble comes across the line and said his first time, doesn't make the top 8 there So the Huncorp entry going purple in the early stages of his second attempt as well. And Snake Eyes P3 at the moment. So, how does that stack up with your predictions there, Revs?
All right, the Bogsy IR is the wild card, so I did expect one or two of them to be up there, but yeah, so far, and Renegade's in fourth. That's looking pretty good for him too, considering that the last race he didn't perform like he wanted to, but he said he's been practicing heaps for this one, and he's really looking forward to the season.
Yeah, it seems like, to me, there's a handful of drivers up and down the divisions that have really stuck a lot of time into this particular combo in the lead up to the season, really getting a master on the car and trying to figure out how to drive it as best they can and really push the limits and test the limits and find out where they can take it. Now, clearly not on for the best lap this time around is Renegade, but he'll be having another crack this time through. We've got our first stopper for a fresh set of boots. That's Snake Eyes. In the pit lane, he'll be putting on some fresh tyres and going for a faster lap. Now, 47.775. Do you expect that to remain as the pole time, Revs, or do you think we'll see something a little bit faster from these guys?
Oh, in practice, I've seen him in faster. I believe it should be around a 146.8, 146.9. I'm predicting may come in.
Okay, so one or two guys maybe to crack into the 46s or a 47 flat. To be sort of the benchmark for these guys for pole position. So only a handful of laps to go. You can see the timer up the top of the screen there and compare it to the timer on the bottom left of the screen as well. When that timer at the bottom left ticks over 10 minutes, that's it. You're on your last lap. So they've got time for probably this one and one more. If you're out on track right now, of course, Snake Eyes will come out and he'll be forced to do an out lap or he can set a flying lap. Now, Madrick has bumped himself up into P4. That's a great start for the debutant for Respawn Esports, right behind his teammate as well on the grid, which would be really good for those two to start this one off. He unseats Renegade for their P5. Womble has jumped up to P6 as well, so that's a really good lap from him to get himself up there, and he's now running through the S's in the middle of the circuit. See if he's on for a decent lap time as we come through the sector split up here. On board with the red mist entry now as we head up the hill onto the back straight. This flat out section all the way down to NASCAR. He's blew through the middle of the circuit there. There are 4 sectors on this track. That's the end of the second sector. A little bit deep at NASCAR, gets it pulled up and gets a solid exit on the way out. He pops with a 49.3. And we've got Spitzy there with a 48 as well. Bumps himself up to P7. Renegade comes into the pits. He's not going to have a lot of time to get around again if he does get going. Bog's Ear goes to pole position with a 47.662. Still, based on what we're hearing, about half a second for these guys to find. Sizzling Sausage goes to P2, or stays P2 rather with that lap time. Womble will head through and set a lap time once again. I think he's on for a personal best here. Let's see what he can do across the line. It's a 47. No, it's a 48.5. So no improvement that time around. He'll get 1 or 2 more perhaps. Now, the one I want to watch out for here is Snake Eyes. Now, he's actually in a little bit of traffic right now. Behind, I believe that's Malevolent One for CP Motorsports. Now, coming through here, this might be a problem because you get a little bit of dirty air and the car starts washing a bit wide. So, not the best spot for him to be in. Might be time to bail out of this lap and stick it all on the final lap because he does have time to get one more in coming around. So yeah, 6/10 down there, not fast enough to improve this time around, and I highly doubt he'll find that sort of time in the final 2 sectors. So looks like he's doing the sensible thing, buttoning off there and giving himself room to maneuver for one final flyer. Bog's Ear, the man on top at the moment for Huncorp, and he's purple by nearly 2/10. So looking to cement that pole position that he currently holds. Madrick with a 47.1. Now that is a huge lap from the debutant for Respawn Esports. What a performance he's having so far. 2 solid laps in the books and possibly more time to find here for Madrick. Bogsier will come across the line. It'll be an improvement, but not close enough. He might have been shook by Madrick's dropping in the times there. Very, very quick lap on the board. Right as this man right here was about to come through the final sector, and it looks like it might have affected him mentally. Malevolent One, not able to get within the top 8 this time around. Laminator goes up to P6, and Boggs here is in the wall, and it's all over for the home corp entry. This is the last lap for him. Everyone will get to complete this lap. Our time is up. Boggs here will be second at best. Maverick coming towards NASCAR. He's the first car on track at the moment. Nice run through there. A little bit of dirt on the exit. Let's see if he's purple on the way up the hill. Come through the right up here, and we'll hit the sector split for the last sector. He's 7/10 down. It will be no improvement for him this lap. Sizzling Sausage. Snake Eyes is the other one to watch. They're right behind each other on track right now. On board with Snake Eyes as we come through NASCAR. Does he get it right? Let's have a look at his sector split up the hill. Drive up here, flat out through this left, and then flat out through the right. No lifting whatsoever. Let's see the sector split. He is purple. We could be on for something here. Womble goes to P5. At some point, I don't know when, Laminator, who was behind, there was someone behind Snake Eyes. I don't know who it was. Snake Eyes to the line, through the final corner. Here we go. This could be the lap that unseats them all. To pole position does go. Not quite. Snake Eyes. Madrick will hold on for now. Sizzling Sausage also on a good lap there. Goes P4 just outside the top 3 onto the second row for Sizzling Sausage. Boggs here in P3, and he's still got this lap to finish. Although we did see that he did crash off in the early stages of the lap. Womble will set another time and go up to P6 there. So he'll be happy with that mid-pack start. The third row for the RMR team owner. Now that qualifying came down to the wire, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Might have been a little bit of nerves with the false starts that we had. And maybe that might have put a few people off, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if that affected some people. Now, we've had Keza Johnson leave the room there, so we're going to have to do a grid start by false start check. So before we do that, we'll just have a quick look at the results and record them. So we'll take you guys over there now. So we've got Mad Rick on debut, pole position with a 47.116 ahead of Snake Eyes, who's down by just 0.037. And then they're together just under half a second clear of Boggs here in third place there with a 47.590 by Home Corp Esports. Sizzling Sausage for Black Rose in fourth place. Laminator in P5 there on the first round of the season for Lightning Motorsport. Womble RMR in P6 for Red Mist Racing. A great result for him after his results last season. I'm sure he'll be happy to be in the top half this time around. Wartime on debut, P7 with a 48.204. ESR Renegade in P8 with a 48.411. Fitzy in P9, 48.458. Malevolent One, P10, rounds out our top 10 there for Deeds. Keza Johnson for Brocchio 5 and 11th. Brev, CP in P12. Petey Pops P13. And Diabolus in P14 to kick us off. So, Madrick on pole. I don't think anybody called that. I think that's that was a surprising result, but he'll definitely be happy with it, and only by 0.037. So Snake Eyes not making it easy for him whatsoever, but they'll both be happy to be on the front row ahead of Boggs here. Now, do you have Revs? Do you have those results recorded?
Yes, I do. I do.
Very good. So once Keza rejoins, we will need to do the grid set by host. So we'll go to a quick intermission for you guys while we get that all sorted out. And we will be back very shortly for the Grand Standing Division 4 race. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Sector 1 sim racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. Our third round of difficulties this evening. We are plagued once again by the Gran Turismo bugs, but we are just about ready to go once again. We just had a single driver kicked from the lobby for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They have since rejoined, and we are just setting the grid at the moment. I believe that is just about done. But we will have the race underway very shortly. We did manage to complete qualifying this time though, so very, very happy about that. Moving in, a reminder of our qualifying results. We were Mad Rick on pole position ahead of Snake Eyes and P2. I don't actually have the rest of the results in front of me. I think it was Bogsier third on the grid there, and let me see if I can refresh my memory as to who was fourth. I think it was Sizzling Sausage, indeed it was.
Yes.
So, Revs, could you walk us through our grid order as it sits right now?
Mad Rick, then Snake Eyes, then Boggs IR, Sizzling Sausage, Laminator in 5th, Womble in 6th, Wartime in 7th, Renegade in 8th, Spitzy 24 in 9th. 10th place is Malevolent 1 and DB Rev in the 11th, and PD Pops in 12th, and then Icer Delavalis in 13, and Keza Johnson 14.
Now, when did Keza leave? Because I get the feeling that Keza was not 14th in qualifying. Because I seem to remember Diabolus was. Is that definitely correct?
He hasn't mentioned anything, and if he did get a better time, I did not see it. And
Quickly ask him the question. Position. And we know that we can rely on honesty in Sector 1 because we've got such a great community. So I'm fully prepared to ask him just to double check because I don't actually recall what he was myself. I know I'm sure he was up there somewhere. Going of what we had up. In fact, I might even be able to check back on the YouTube broadcast as well. So we've got definitely a couple of options for that. But in any case, we will get racing underway soon. Our apologies once again for the delays going ahead. Word on the street is that Keza was 12th or 11th. So that he might go up there and bump a couple down. A great comment in the chat there. We are checking. Yes, reminiscent of Ferrari in the Formula 1 season of yesteryear. Very good. I have massive respect for that comment there. That's a good one. Very much indeed. So, yeah, we are checking. We will get there very shortly, I'm sure. And it will not be long until our results are on the screen and ready to go. Here we go. I've got them up in front of me right now. So just doubly sure. Keza Johnson was indeed 11th ahead of Debrev, PD Pops, and Diabolus. So the rest of the grid is correct. You just need to move Johnson up 11th place and demote the other.
to 11th place, and the other ones. There you go. And apply.
Very good. And I can actually see the grid order on the screen. So, I will just... Keza's actually said that he was 12th. So I'm just going to let him know that he was 11th so that he doesn't question it. I'll just let him know because I don't want anyone sitting on the grid going, I'm in the wrong position. Get that sorted just now, and then a couple of seconds. Give these guys the starting soon, and then kick the race off. I think they're starting soon now. Here we go. We are just about ready to get our drivers underway, so I will refresh your memory on our grid order. So, the debutant, Mad Rick, starts in P1. Snake Eyes P2 completes the front row, a 1-2 for Respawn Esports, reminiscent of Division 1 last season. I wonder, actually, if that's the first time that that's ever happened in Sector 1 sim racing history. First round of the season, All teammates qualify in either a P1 or a P2 across the board. Bogsier in P3, Sizzling Sausage in P4, Laminator P5, Womble P6, Wartime in 7th, Renegade in 8th, Spitzy in 9th, Hit for Malevolent 1, Hezza in P11, Debrev P12, 13th for PD Pops, and Diabolus will start at the back of the grid. So, Revs, it's time to get going. Let's get these guys underway for the race finally this evening for Division 4.
All right, here we go.
Okay, now, after a long night of Gran Turismo bugs, we are finally ready to begin our 26-lap race here for Division 4 at Maggiore Grand Prix circuit in Italy. Take to the grid. Just a moment to see our drivers head off and compete in the inaugural Division 1 race Division 4 race for Sector 1 Season 8. Here we are on the grid. You can see the 2 respawn cars lined up at the front. The lights are up. 5 lights on the board. And they are out and the drivers are away. We go racing here at Lago Maggiore. It looks like a great start for the guys on the second row there. The respawn drivers will have to hold station on the inside. A little bit of contact between the teammates there. Snake Eyes into the back of Mad Rick, but they get through just about. And the respawn cars hold on to the top 2 positions, much like we saw last week in Division 1. Now Bogsier, P3, managed to hold on to it. Laminator P4 for Lightning Motorsport, and the guys getting a little bit loose as they come through there. Womble RMR off the back. Disaster for Womble in the early stages. We've got a move going on up there for 13th and 12th. The Deeds entry chops the nose off the CP Motorsports entry on the way through the first sequence of corners. We've got more action up the front here between Sizzling Sausage and Bog's Ear, who's dropped down to 5th and promoted Laminator to 3rd place. And this squabbling is just letting the respawn cars get away. Look at that, already 1.5 seconds back to Laminator. These guys are making it too easy for the respawn cars. And Madrick down the inside, or sorry, Snake Eyes down the inside of his teammate Madrick on the way into NASCAR corner there. Takes the position. It looked like it was easy said and done, but Madrick drops a lot of time there to Laminator behind. That gap was 1.5 seconds before, and now Laminator has caught back up. So these guys are going to have to get their consistency together and pull away from these guys as much as possible. I want to have a look at Boggs here, who's actually just witnessed Sizzling Sausage going off the track over the curb there and into the grass. We just about caught that. I don't know how that happened. Looked like he just got a little bit loose on the grass and falls behind Womble down to last place for Sizzling Sausage. Not the way he wanted his first lap to go. The Brev now P12, just on the back of Malevolent One. We've got a bit of action up ahead as well. It looks down the inside for Renegade on Wartime, the debutant. Old station this time around, a little bit of contact on the way through the corner, but managed to keep it together. Petey pops in P5, he'll be happy with that position for now. Boggsy has got himself back up to 4th as the result of Sizzling Sausage's unfortunate error. The Lightning Motorsport car still sits P3. The 2 respawn cars once again getting away. These guys have got to be clever with this one. Try catch up as much as possible, not fight amongst one another. Big pack of cars back here. Malevolent One goes through on Diabolus. And it looks like another car there. There's Womble serving a penalty. Diabolus looking for a move on Debrev. Down the inside at NASCAR. Debrev holds it around the outside, manages to keep it together, and gets the exit he needed. The CP car holds on to 11th for now. There are so many moves being made. Here's Spitzy down the inside of Renegade. We still haven't had time to catch a replay of the opening lap. But he tried it, Spitzy. He's a little bit close, but not close enough. You can see here, Renegade, Wartime, and the Brocchio 5 entry ahead. I believe that's Keza Johnson. Gap's starting to grow a little bit. Petey Pops, rather, for Doghouse Motorsport. Doghouse Racing, I think it might be. Actually, I'm not 100% sure that is correct in my assumption. I think Doghouse, Petey Pops is Doghouse. And that looks like a Doghouse livery, but I could be wrong as he goes wide on the exit of turn 4. Very easy to do. He won't pick up a track limit for that, I don't think, but he's now under pressure from Wartime behind. Manages to hold on to it. Boxier in P4, still on the back of Laminator, who is not quite dropping away from Madrick ahead. He's got sideways through the S's, though. Very easy to do. We actually saw our 3-time champion Mahinderjet, or GDR, last week get loose in much the same fashion through those corners. It's opened up the door to Boxier, who's going to be forced to the outside. Can he force a switchback of some kind? Cuts in a little bit early. Laminator holds onto it, and that's really opened up the gap there too. Adric now in a bit of clear air. He's got 1.8 to the car behind. He can relax a little bit now and hopefully just get into a rhythm. And now just trying to pull the gap, keep himself in a strong position. Snake Eye's our leader. And this falls pretty neatly into your prediction there, Revs. What do you think?
Yeah, he's gotten off to a good start. Now if he can just keep his head cool, no mistakes. Ooh, Wartime up inside Petey Pops.
Now in P5, Wartime's got through. And down the inside goes Renegade as well. Into turn 1, a little bit of contact on the way through, but it's all there. No hip and shoulder back. There we go, a little bit of contact coming through. There's still wheel to wheel here. Round the outside goes Petey Pops. What a move that was! Forced Renegade to the apex of the corner, gave him nowhere to go, and Spitzy goes through as well. Not quite. Had a crack at it. Renegade holds P7 for now. Spitzy's going to try again. Down the inside at 5. Goes through. They were leading to the S's, but Renegade might stick to the inside here. And they go. Are they going to be wheel to wheel? No. Round the outside for Spitzy. That's 2 outside moves in a couple of corners between 2 drivers. Petey Pops and Spitzy round the outside of Renegade, falling back. Not having a good lap this time around. Wartime's pulled a little bit of a gap there. Now, the interesting battle's on track right now. Bog's ear on the back of Laminator, applying the pressure. Madrick trying to stay in touch with Snake Eyes, his teammate. Wartime defending from Petey Pops, who's on a charge right now. Jump on board with the doghouse entry. Aggressive braking into corner capo. And wide for Wartime. He comes back on track. Bit of a dodgy re-entry there, and that's actually going to allow Spitzy through. And it looks like... Oh, wow. Wartime, P8. Renegade was just an unfortunate bystander for that one. Nothing he could do. Trying to get through as Petey Pops rejoined the track. Looked like he was a bit of a passenger at that point. We saw a similar incident in qualifying as well. Petey Pops wide again. Once again, won't pick up a track limit penalty there, because that particular corner not dangerous for it. Now here's what's interesting. Snake Eyes has copped the fastest lap so far. He's got a 47.096 on the board. And that is faster than the fastest qualifying lap from his teammate, who currently sits P2. Down the inside for Renegade. On Petey Pops. Goes through. Petey Pops now the one falling back. But will he answer? He will indeed. But Renegade puts his car in a position that won't allow him to pass. Petey Pops onto the grass just about. Not quite off. Wartime. P8. Come on board. Looking at the group ahead. 3 cars in sight. It's been up and down, a real roller coaster for these three drivers. And a roller coaster too for our man in fifth, Spitzy, who took advantage of that incident and went straight on through, and has now cleared off by 2 seconds the Renegade behind. These guys settling into their rhythm now, finding their pace. Come out of the last corner to complete the 5th lap. We're approaching that first pit window if anyone's going to come in after 8 or 9 laps and have a crack at a new set of tyres. Might be beneficial when it comes to going for the fastest lap there. But otherwise, we're expecting most people to drop in around lap 13. Look back from Wartime here. He's got Petey Pops behind, who's applying a bit of pressure, and then Malevolent One not far behind either. Another car there, I can't quite see who that is, but they are not far adrift either. But the top 4, look at the mini-map, have more or less settled into their positions. There's been no real changing for them so far. While all this is happening, I want to have a look at what happened in the early stages. We've got some pressure on Womble here from Keza. Have a quick look at that on board. Down towards banked corner of NASCAR. See if Keza thinks about it. Rocky 05 car approaching quickly, deep in the slipstream of the Red Mist entry. That bright conversation starter design, not enough to fend off the Rocky 05 car, or it might be. Attempts to slam the door, and Keza can't quite get through there. And a lift to allow the space on the way up the hill. He'll live to fight another day. And we're going to go on board with Womble here. Have a quick look at a replay of his start. We started P6, if you'll remember. This is turn 1. On the outside there. And into the grass there. And into the side of the Kraken Esports car. Here he goes. And loose on the throttle. And that was enough to drop him down. That's all it took. Wow. A small mistake in the early stages there. Dropped him all the way to 14th. With dirty tyres, dropped even further. Wow. Serious misfortune for Womble there on the first lap. Now in touch with Diabolus again, who's dropped back a little bit. Keza right on them too. Gotta keep up with this this mid-pack though. These guys are still squabbling a little bit. In fact, Bogsier has dropped 3 seconds to Laminator. We've missed an incident somewhere. But he was right on the back of him not too long ago. In fact, a lap ago, I remember checking in. And he was right on the back of Laminator. That was one of the closest fights on track. And now, 3.5 seconds. He's had a loose somewhere, that's for sure. Renegade in P6. Trying to chase down Spitzy. He's made a little bit of inroads since settling. And Spitzy catching up to Bogsier now as well. Looking pretty solid for a recovery drive for these guys. Wartime, not doing too bad either on debut. 7th place right now. Solid upper mid-pack. And he's got a couple of positions in sight. Now, Petey Pops is under pressure once again from Debrev for CP. We'll look on board here with Petey Pops. Looking back. The guys behind. There's Sizzling Sausage on his recovery as well after an early incident. Looking for a move on Debrev perhaps. No, not this time around. Got the Black Rose car or Deeds car perhaps behind as well. Can't quite see it there. Coming through. Can confirm this is indeed a doghouse entry. This particular NSX. The 2008 NSX, the GT500. What we're using this season here at Sector 1 Sim Racing. One make. Unlike last season. Last season, of course, Season 7. Where we were multi-make. Much like the Manufacturer Series of the Gran Turismo World Series. Manufacturer's Cup, as it's now known, very, very close there between Debrev and Sizzling Sausage. Looked like it might have even been a little bit of contact. And now, Sizzling Sausage under threat from the driver behind. Might have been a bit of a redress after the contact, and that's put him on the back foot through the S's. Come back, have a look at these guys. Not quite close enough for a move, and that is Malevolent One, the Deeds and P11. This is our biggest battle on track. Womble appears to have got himself into P12 ahead of Diabolus. Dropped down to 14th. On the back foot now. Going a little bit backwards here. Keza being nice and patient on the back of Womble here. Looking like he's got the pace to go through, but taking his time with it. Not rushing it. Not pushing too hard. That's a car off. That's Malevolent One who's gone off. Malevolent One down to 14th. It's incident after incident in this race. Have a look at what happened shortly. Debrev under pressure from Sizzling Sausage there for P9. Black Rose car now very nice and close. I wonder if there was contact with the Deeds car at any point between any one of these guys. Have a look at a replay soon. Petey Pops. Not far up the road. Just a second. Separating these guys now.
I have to say the Respawn guys are looking really confident. They're moving forward. I gotta say the practice has come to pay off the dividends in the race.
Looking very strong. It's one of those Max Verstappen performances where we're not even putting the camera on them because we know what they're doing. They're putting in clinical laps, right? The whole race.
That guy's just moved away 2 seconds.
Yes, he's pulled a solid gap up there, 2.5 just about. So lap 9 now. If they don't pit at the end of this lap, then they're probably heading for the later pit window for the one stop. So, can you give us an idea, Revs, of what our guys, what we're dealing with these guys when it comes to their tyre wear at the moment? Kind of, who's in the best spot, and who's not looking too solid when it comes to tyre wear and fuel life as well?
Well, Mad Rick, it looks like he's got some really good tires. He's doing the best. Laminator looks like he's really chewing at his tires. Best tire life in the field would probably go to Keza Johnson.
Okay,
he's
so
doing really
just
well.
P11. He's got really strong tyres right now. Based on that. Okay.
Renegade's doing well with his tires. Bogsy's really eating his tires, like really eating them. If he goes another 3 more laps, he could be struggling, so we want to watch out for that. And same with Laminator. His tires are really worn, so including his front ones, which is meaning he's gouging them in the corners. There's plenty of red there on the front tires, and usually it's your front tires that wear less than the rears here. So,
okay, so very harsh on the fronts for Laminator. What about fuel? How are the guys looking for fuel right now?
Let's see. Snake Eyes is doing very well. Laminator very well. Mad Rick very well. Just under a half a tank. Everybody, Womble is at the best at the moment. He's got over a half a tank, and yeah, he might catch up a lot of time in the pit zone for that. Lowest fuel has to go to Diabolus, but he's running in 14th, so
not going to affect his stop too much then. He'll probably come out where he is right now. This pack here in sort of P10 area, Sizzling Sausage and Debrev and Petey Pops, who's in the best position when it comes to tyres and fuel out of these guys? Because I feel like the pit window is going to be where this race between these guys is won and lost.
Okay, Petey Pops is struggling on his tires. He's got a decent amount of fuel. Debrev has much better tires and better fuel. Sizzling Sausage, his front tires are looking very sad at the moment, like screaming at him to take it easy. And well, Keswick Johnson's tires are really well, and his fuel, so you'll probably catch up a little bit of time there on pit with the fuel saving.
Sounds like Debrev's going to get the jump on Petey Pops in the pit stop if he doesn't get him here. In fact, on the way down towards turn 5. But that is our APR Automotive Tyre and Fuel update. I think, Debrev's gone off there as well. A little bit loose. That's easy to do on the way out of that particular corner, I think. These, you get on the power a little bit too aggressively and, suddenly you're sideways on the way out there because you're applying steering input at the same time. So, very, very tough to get out of there without an issue.
And the more the tires wear, the worse it becomes going around there. Sometimes you got a tippy toe. And if you got someone up your rear end or on your rear end trying to get past you, it makes you want to push a little bit harder, and that's when mistakes start.
That's right, it's that pressure that comes in. I'm going to head around to, I want to find a Malevolent one. Here he is. Jump on board. We're going to watch a replay here. No, we're not. Apparently, I have no more replays. In that case, never mind. I was going to say, let's have a look at the replay of Malevolent one's off, because we saw him go off around this part of the track, actually. I wonder
Bogsy's
if it was... Bogsy is in end of lap 11. Now that is interesting. Building up now. Have a little eye on what sort of fuel numbers puts in. About 80% is enough to make it to the end, or 90% if you're pitting this early. But yeah, filling just about right up. Coming out 13th. Ahead of Diabolus, behind Malevolent one. Now the traffic is not good for Bogsy because based on what we're seeing, probably not a 2-stop, probably looking at a 1-stop and a massive undercut. So his goal here would be probably to undercut the drivers that were running in front of him and get past. There goes Malevolent one once again. That might be what we saw from him before, a little bit earlier, just getting loose on the exit of a corner on throttle and losing the back end of the car. So unfortunately, Malevolent one's race is he's been plagued with bad luck from start to finish here. Couple of offs, unsure if that first one was his fault or not. Second one, very clearly just driver error, unfortunately. On the way out of the corner, we talked about that corner as well. The little bump on the exit, very easy to unsettle the car and go wide. And you overcorrect and suddenly you get a bucket load of grip on the front end and the car just eats itself, as the kids say, off to the side. Puts you in the fence. Laminator in as well. 2 respawn cars stay out in front. The gap between them, in fact, very, very close now. 1.5 seconds between these two. So Madrick, I think you mentioned, Revs, that Madrick's tyres... Oh no! We've jumped on board with Madrick and he's gone straight into the fence. I don't know what's happened here. It looks like he's been reset or some such thing. Manages to get it going. Oh, the commentator's curse. Strikes Madrick there, puts him into the fence on the exit of that corner as well. Same corner. That's that tyre wear creeping in, right? So these guys, that little divot in the ground, causing them to get a little bit loose, and you overcorrect and you send the car straight into the wall there. So easy to do, and so many guys do it. Renegade currently in P3 now after all the consternation. Keza P8 after the pit stop. I think actually that might not have been a pit stop for Keza. Malevolent one comes out. P13 ahead of Diabolus, not ahead, crucially, of Bogsy. Now Bogsy was one of the first guys to pit.
Yep. And I think he did the right thing there. His tires were really bad. He might have not have wanted to pit then, but I think he did do the right choice, because the second stint seems to be easier on your tires, a little less weight of fuel, and you sort of get the jitters in the first stint, and in the second stint, hopefully you got yourself settled in, and you're able to do the corners much better. So the wear and tear on his tires probably be much better for him. And Snake Eyes is in.
Snake Eyes comes in with 22 litres on board. Madrick, a slight fuel save, just the 1 litre on top of that. But yeah, Bogsy is proving an interesting one to watch. He's currently stuck behind Womble right now. Not being too aggressive with his moves, which might be the safe option here, but might be getting held up a little bit. A couple of times now he's run into traffic. This is the second car he's ended up stuck behind. And that's going to put a lot of pain to his undercut strategy. He is now released. On the start-finish straight he goes. He'll come out just beside Madrick. Not quite able to get by. No, he is. He's down the inside of turn 2.
Nice.
Madrick drops to 5th. Penny Pops, P3. That's not pitted yet. Snake Eyes P2. Renegade, currently P1, also has not pitted. Owes a pit stop. Doesn't owe a pit stop, but will. It's entirely likely that Renegade will need to pit. He will be forced to pit before the end of this race.
He's got a couple of laps of fuel.
Does. He'll get through a few more, no doubt, but he's not going to make it to the end now.
No way. If I was him, I'd be pitting soon.
Yeah, no need to extend the early stint by too much because you're just running on worn tyres at this point. So the one that I'm interested to watch now, Madrick. Madrick's got Bogsy in front of him as well as Petey Pops. Petey Pops, I think still owes a pit stop, much like Renegade. So net third for Madrick right now, but behind Bogsy. Now Bogsy has had a pretty decent first stint. Wasn't able to make inroads to the guys in front, but he was matching pace for the longest time. But I suspect Madrick's going to find a bit of pace on this guy in the late stages of the race. So whether he can get by or not, I think will prove very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that particular battle. I think things could definitely stand to change. Petey Pops comes in, and our drivers will resume our standard programming. Laminator was one of those guys in the first stint that chewed through the front tyres, wasn't it?
Yes, he was.
I think we can expect to see solid turn of pace in the early stages of this stint, and then similar sort of results in the late stages, much like we saw before.
And Bogsy got past Mad Rick there, could move into second place.
Yeah, so that was into turn 2. They came out just about on top of each other, and then Bogsy was able to sneak on through while Mad Rick was still on cold tyres in the early stages. They will have warmed up by now, so level playing field between these two. In fact, Mad Rick has significantly better tyre life, of course, than Bogsy, because Bogsy pitted 2 laps early, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
So, in the late stages of the race, Bogsy is going to really suffer with the tyre wear, and that's going to prove interesting. See what Madrick does in response to that. I wonder, I put a penny forward for the thoughts of Madrick right now. He's sitting there probably kicking himself for that mistake, knowing that if he hadn't have made that mistake, he'd be ahead of Bogsy. But does he know how early Bogsy pitted? No doubt he would have had the opportunity to see that Bogsy was in the pits when Bogsy first pitted.
Sizzling sausage up the inside of Womble.
And in P8, so Womble I think also still hasn't pitted. Is that correct?
No, he's got fresh tires.
Wow!
Into the wall.
He was in position there too. Oh! Reversed across the track. Luckily, ghosted thanks to the beauty of Gran Turismo 7. Finally doing something for us that helps. Womble was in 8th. Unfortunately, into the fence. He got a little bit loose on the grass. Wow. A lot of misfortune has befallen this man this race. Kicking himself for sure. So now our only real battles on track are Brev. Defending from Petey Pops. Behind him, Hezza, not far ahead of Womble now, who's on the comeback drive. Level 1 on his own. Couple of incidents really put his race in a negative place.
I just noticed something here. I've been looking at the people's fuel and what they filled up with, and I've noticed like Snake Eyes has 3/4 of a tank of fuel, and Wumble has under a half a tank of fuel. I'm just wondering whether or not he does have enough fuel, or he's got some awesome fuel-saving moves he's going to show us to get to the end.
Well, it does go some way to explaining why he was so far up the field after the pit stops. Because if I remember correctly, he was around outside the top 10 at the end of that first stint, or towards the end of that first stint, before people started pitting. But for him to bump up to P8, would have had to short fuel by a bit, so that makes sense. I don't know. I don't think 50 litres is enough to get to the end from here. Most guys are running around 3/4. Like you say, Snake Eyes currently 75% on board. So, be a tough ask. See what you can do. Be the deeds strategy. Run the fuel until it's empty and hope that you make it to the line. But will remain to be seen. He's still ahead of Malevolent One. He's got a good gap too, so he could definitely afford to drop a few seconds a lap with a fuel save. Be a case of time will tell.
I have to say that Snake Eyes out front is looking very mean at the moment. Very consistent. It looks like he's got everything under control, and he's pulling a gap away on second. So
yeah,
I think all that practice has come back to pay off.
Yeah, he's doing really well here, and it's something that I'm really happy to see, because he is one of my my guys in my team, Respawn Esports, of course. So always good to see good results, but in particular when they come from someone who puts in as much time as this guy does. You know, I thought that Jeesh, our Division 1 champion from last season, who's still competing, he raced last weekend, and he was P2 in Division 1. Now, he put a lot of time into practice for Sector 1 last season. A lot of time, a lot of testing. He was a big factor in which car we selected for the season. He tested multiple different cars, different tracks. Hours and hours of time went in. And I thought he was, you know, the be-all, end-all of practice. You know, he had the work ethic, which was just something that I'd never really seen before. But then Snake Eyes joined up this season and completely blew him out of the water in terms of practice. He, almost every night, Snake Eyes was sending a message in the team chat to me personally, with feedback, asking for feedback about his laps, sending videos, asking questions, you know, looking for constructive criticism and trying to make changes, and comparing notes with other drivers around him, and comparing to who he's practicing against. He's put in a mega shift going into this first round, and it's just so great to see that hard work paying off here at Maggiore. So yeah, we'll leave him to his devices out front there, 10.5 seconds, I think, for now, and let him do his thing. Hopefully catch up on some other battles going on further down the field. Laminator sitting P4 ahead of Renegade. Renegade's made a bit of a comeback here. He's kind of fluctuated up and down the field a bit as this race went on. Now sitting P2, looking like he's making inroads into Laminator as well. On exit there, Laminator with a poor exit out of the banked corner of NASCAR. Yeah,
and Laminator's tires are much worse than, well, not technically worse. He's used about 12% of his tires, compared to Renegade's only probably used about 4% of his, because he pitted much later.
Yeah, that's that stop difference, isn't it? So that strategy again might seriously affect the battle for second here as well.
Laminator with a penalty.
And picks up a half second, presumably. Yeah, half second. So that's a track limit violation. So he'll serve that on the back straight, come around this lap, and that will probably be enough to demote him down to P5, I think. So the Hooncorp car, assuming he stays within the range that he is right now, will be promoted to P4
on the back straight with a little bit of luck. You have to stay nice and close. It looks like Laminated knows it. Playing the defensive game, driving to the inside, not giving even half a sniff of a toe to Renegade behind. See this penalty be served up ahead. On board now with Renegade as we head into the S's. Now these S's very tricky, particularly when you're following another car. You see Laminated a little bit wide there, slidey to the right-hander, pushing the tyres a little bit, and that was that aero wash there on Renegade there, missing the apex of the final corner of the S's on account of that aero wash coming in. So there's the penalty served there through those yellow gates, on the brakes for half a second, and then back on the throttle for Laminator, and through goes, or not, Renegade.
Whoa.
Goes for a switchback, but a great defense from Laminator, manages to nail the power and get out of there nice and quick. Renegade will have to try again.
And we have a new fastest lap by Mad Rick, 147.080.
Now that's the pressure. Bogsier will see that and start to wonder if he can hold on. He might have to start considering the value of a podium versus the value of second soon enough. That gap's now down to a second. It was out over 2 not long ago. This might be that tyre wear starting to come in for Bogsier in the late stages. 7 laps to go for these guys, so plenty of time for things to change. Madrick holding about a second gap. He'll have to make the overtake at some point if he wants that second back. You know, I'm sure Bogsier...
Renegade up the inside on turn 4.
He's not just going to hand it to him. I saw that change on the tower. Unfortunately, we can't catch a replay, but here we are with Laminator. It looks like he's got the opportunity to send it back here at turn 5. Down the inside for the Lightning Motorsport car. Great racing room given between the two cars, and Renegade manages to hold it together. And Spitzy now getting amongst it. Have a look at this. Through the S's. To the back straight here. The slipstream will play a huge part in this battle now.
Excuse me.
Spitzy on the back of Laminator. 3/10 the gap. About the same to Renegade ahead. Laminator's not going to be close enough to have a go. Spitzy thinks about it. Kelly's planning something. Plotting. Rubbing his hands together over this one. Up the hill. Through to the last sector. Relatively slow lap, relatively speaking, for Spitzy compared to his fastest. But perhaps getting held up by Laminator. Laminator with a mistake. We've seen a few of those from him this race. Struggling. Keep the car pointed in the right direction on occasion. Spitzy goes wide this time. So, back and forth between these two drivers. Error after error. He who makes the least will profit the most. Coming into the late stages of this race, and the tyre wear will definitely prove a factor as well. See what Laminator can do. He's closing up on Renegade again. Come through the first sector. Clearly strong through there, Laminator, I think. Managing to lock down the first 4 corners pretty well. With the right-hander, turn 5. That's one of those corners we saw. I think Malevolent one go spinning around there on the way out. You can see the amount of steering lock you have to apply while on full throttle. Really difficult. A little bit wide there for Spitzy. Heard him have to lift there on the way through. That's going to drop him back a bit. Not going to be close enough this time around to launch a move. Using that slipstream to draw a little bit closer. One of the other battles on track that I want to check out as well. Hitty Pops and Debrev. Hitty Pops currently P10. In that top 10 spot. Be wanting to make inroads where he can. Debrev for CP holding P9. About 10 seconds to the next car in front. Sizzling Sausage in P8. So it's going to be a hard ask to get that far up the road, but he'll definitely be wanting to hold on to this spot. He pops behind. I think Mad Rick and Bogsy might be heading up a little bit as well. Not to mention Laminator and Bitsy getting involved with each other too.
Laminator's really struggling with his tires. He's used more than half of his tires compared to Spitzy's probably only used about maybe 12% of his tires. So I expect Spitzy to be all over Laminator at the end of this race.
It'll be a hard defense to keep up that Lightning car.
And another one that's struggling on tires would be Bogsy as well. He's going to be struggling. Madrick is looking really good. I expect him to start climbing all over Bogsy.
It's interesting, this one. It looks like Madrick just having a bit of patience, not too worried about getting the move done this early. I get the feeling he knows that Bogsy is a little bit compromised in comparison to him, because he's taken 2 seconds out of him over the last few laps. So he'll know that his pace is currently better. Just got to be careful about making mistakes, as does Bogsy, of course. Either one of these guys makes a mistake can completely change the complexion of this race between the pair of them. It'll be a long road back for Madrick if he drops back, and might even put himself at risk of entering the clutches of Renegade deep into turn 1. Slipstream hugging him into the first corner at a much higher speed used to. Right-hander. Now this is the one on exit. You get a little bit of a unsettled car on the way out. Very wide there for Madrick on the way through, but no sign of track limit violation, not according to the game anyway. Half a second down on his fastest lap definitely suggests that Madrick is not driving to his full potential here. Probably mostly down to the aero wash that he's receiving off Bogsy, and now an exit out of these S's is crucial. And it looks like he's got it. This could be it on the way into NASCAR. Get in that slipstream. Nice overspeed on the car in front. Drive down the inside on the way into NASCAR. Can he do it? Holds back this time around. But you can tell Bogsy is concerned about it. The way he was weaving on the straight. Couple of moves to break the slipstream. Prevent Madrick from getting close enough. And Madrick wasn't able to react fast enough to get close, or close enough, what he felt was close enough to go for a move. Moves through the last sector. Gonna have to find another spot to get it done. I think we've missed as well Laminator and Spitzy up in position. Spitzy up to P5 now, ahead of Laminator, and very quickly pulling away by the looks.
Yeah, Laminator's tires are really struggling. I think that's probably why Spitzy got around him.
The clutches of wartime in the late stages if his tires are good. Back in. I think this is going to be the next one to culminate something special. 3 laps to go. Madrick's got to think about doing something soon. Must know Bogsy doesn't quite have the tyres that he does, but Bogsy is doing a good job of holding him up, preventing him from getting past. What does the deficit look like right now for Bogsy, do you think?
For Bogsy, I was just looking at Womble. His fuel's actually flashing, and there's still a couple laps to go. I don't know if he'll make it to the end. Bogsy, his tires are really screaming. I think that's probably why he's trying to go around as smooth as he can. He's doing a good job keeping Madrick off, doing the defending quite well. But compared to the two of them, might as well have flat tires for Bogsy. And Madrick is he's still got over half of his tires left, so it should be very interesting going down the last 2 laps here.
A little bit of a slip and a slide there as well as we head through corner capo. Those rear tyres presumably are the more worn ones. Would that be correct?
His front left is probably the worst one of the lot on Bogsy.
Okay. So he'll start struggling for turning first. Once that tyre goes full red, you lose a lot of grip. I would have expected him to wear out the rears a bit faster than the fronts perhaps, but harsh on that left front. It means that he's likely to go deeper the corner but not make an unrecoverable mistake, because if you wear the rear tyres out, you're likely to get a snap of oversteer, and we saw what happens when you overcorrect a snap of oversteer in these cars. With Malevolent One, you put it straight in the wall, and that suddenly you've lost so much time. In fact, Madrick did that as well earlier in the race, so that's something you definitely don't want. But much more manageable is the front tyre wear, the understeer. You know, it's much more simple to manage. Just got to brake a bit earlier and account for just a lack of turning compared to what you normally do. So see if he can keep it under control. Madrick putting the pressure on. Not far to go though. They're approaching the final lap. Madrick's going to have to do something. He wants that position.
I have to say, Snake Eyes is looking really well. He put in the practice, and it's now paying him dividends.
Going to get a huge result out of this as he approaches the white flag. We're getting the final lap with just about a 15-second lead. Fantastic. Snake Eyes so far.
And considering Bogsy's tires, he's doing really well holding off Madrick, I'd have to say.
Another one I want to watch is Petey Pops into Bread. They're still close on track. Close battle here between these two. Will Petey Pops launch something? Madrick right on the back of the Hooncorp car now. Gets the exit. Don't give it too much. Oh, he's a little bit sideways on the exit there. I saw that. This will be a heart and mouth moment for both of these guys right now. I think Bogsy's tyres are almost completely shot. He's really struggling, but Madrick is he's exercising all the caution. He's going to have to let him go there. A little bit of a bump on the way in. Release Bogsy. Might be a little bit of damage for these guys. Renegade's actually caught up these guys by quite a lot. He's now just under 4 seconds behind. I think that might be it for these two. I think that Bogsy might have it. Our leader, Snake Eyes, approaching the final corner. He's actually nearly lapped a driver there as well. You can see them on the mini-map approaching final lap. Snake Eyes for Respawn Esports will head to the checkered flag for his first win in Sector 1 Sim Racing. Takes the Division 4 race win here in round number 1. Bogsy currently second. He's got pressure from Madrick behind, but he's managed to run a masterful defense to the end of the race here. What a drive from Bogsy that is to make that strategy work. Madrick third. Renegade fourth, not far behind at all. Spitzy P5 for Kraken Esports. Laminator holds on against Wartime despite the worn out tyres. Sizzling Sausage will come through for P8 after an incident in the early stages. Set him back a little bit. Good recovery drive for him. Rev, currently P9, manages to hold off Petey Pops. And Keza Johnson not far behind them either. Womble P12. Looks like he might just make it to the line as his light was flashing not too long ago. But he's coming around the final corner now in P12. possibly a masterful fuel save. He's going to make it too. Malevolent One will be P13. Diabolus just coming over the rise. Will come home in P14. Not the best start to his campaign, but he'll be looking to build on this and definitely make an improvement next time around.
Yeah, he wasn't doing really well yesterday. Apparently, he was in the hospital. Apparently, he did have a heart attack. So to even be out here on the racetrack is a good thing for him. So
that is next level commitment from the ISA team owner. So. Setting an example for his drivers. Fantastic to see. What a win for Snake Eyes. Takes the race by storm. Division 4 have no idea how to deal with him. Here are our results for the first race of the season for Division 4. Snake Eyes, first place, but no fastest lap, crucially. That went to Madrick in P3, behind Bogsier in second on debut here in Sector 1. Great drive from all three of our top three. Madrick will be kicking himself over that error he made in the late stages of the first stint. Renegade in P4. So Respawn, Hooncorp, Respawn, Hooncorp. Great points for those two teams. Ahead of Kraken Esports with P5 there with Spitzy. Laminator P6 for Lightning Motorsport. Not a bad result for him at all in the circumstances. Wartime on debut, 7th. Good start to his campaign. Sizzling Sausage P8. Solid recovery drive, I think, given what happened in the early stages. To find themselves that far back and to recover as they did. One drive to Bread P9 and Petey Pops rounds out the top 10 just behind him. Keza, Womble, Malevolent One, and Diabolus finish out the field. Womble with that ridiculous fuel save we saw in the end. I'm sure that's worthy of a nomination of something. I couldn't tell you what, but I'm sure we'll see it somewhere along the line. What a drive for Snake Eyes. Revs, tell me your driver of the day.
Well, I know people don't like to give it to the winner, but I have to say that Snake Eyes, with all of his practice that he's done, he didn't do too well in the qualifying. So to get himself up there and start to move away, I think he's trying to be a Revs Law. Watching too much of him. The other one I have to go to would be Bogsy, because his tires were really bad and he pitted early. And so he had a couple extra laps on the tires that he had, and to hold off Mad Rick. So my toss-up would be Snake Eyes or Bogsy, but I guess I'd have to give it to Bogsy for the tire save at the end, and to hold off Mad Rick.
I tend to agree. I think Bogsy definitely earned a Driver of the Day nomination with that performance. To pit at the end of lap 11, he's the only person that we've seen do that so far. We've run 3 races now, and he's the first to pit at the end of lap 11. Huge risk to take. Paid off massively. The track position at the end of his undercut was huge. Ended up in second, or net second, ahead of Madrick, who made that mistake. And managed to hold on for the entirety of the second stint, despite Madrick really piling on the pressure in the late stages. Renegade's an honourable mention for me as well. I think he flew under the radar a little bit and performed really well. And didn't qualify too high up, and we weren't really talking about him too much, but he overcut it in the first stint. He went about 14 laps, I think, on that first stint, and we weren't really talking about him too much. There wasn't really too much attention on him, but he ended up 4th and only a couple of seconds off the back of Madrick and Bogsier. So, a few more laps and he would have really been able to throw his hat in the mix. So I think he's definitely an option there as well, but quite a few guys with a solid performance. No doubt there will be nominations for Womble in P12 there for his immense fuel save, but what a race that was, and a dominant performance, reminiscent of course, last season, Division 4 winner yourself, Revs, trying to follow in your footsteps there.
One other mention I have to do is Icer Diablos. Considering he was in the hospital yesterday, just to be on track today, I think is a real good mention for him, and takes a lot of guts to get out there after having a heart attack and then being on the track the following day. That's a lot of commitment, and I give him a big thumbs up there.
I tend to agree with you. I think that's definitely worth a mention too. The level of commitment is, that's something you don't see too often. So really, really awesome. Hope he's recovering well, and back to 100% as soon as possible. We will go to an intermission very shortly. Before we do, I just want to say, Revs, thank you very much for joining me in the comments box. An awesome performance tonight. GT7 threw every issue they could at you, and you coped with it brilliantly. So very, very well done.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It was very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to next week.
Righty, looking forward to having you back. We'll go to an intermission now. We'll be back in a few minutes for Division 2. Don't go anywhere. Good evening, Sector 1 sim racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. Welcome back to more Sector 1 sim racing action. We are back at Lago Maggiore for round number 1 and the final race of round number 1, Div 2 for our Group B. This evening we just had Div 4, we're moving into Div 2 now, and we are going to get it cracking straight away. I am Atom once again, and I am joined for this one by our seasoned veteran of race directors, Carbonboy. Let us know how you're doing, mate.
I am doing absolutely fantastic. I am keen as beans to get this race underway. I have done some testing, and thankfully we have not experienced any of the issues that seem to have plagued the previous race. So we are good to go whenever you guys are to get straight into qualifying.
I think you hit that button, mate. What colour is it this time?
It's always orange, mate. What are you talking about?
I heard rumours of polka dots before, but we will get straight into qualifying for Division 2 because we are a little bit behind schedule, of course, thanks to Gran Turismo underperforming as it loves to do once again. So we'll get straight into it. So moving into qualifying for you guys now. 10 minutes of qualifying for our drivers this evening, and at Lago Maggiore. That proves to be worthy of about 4 laps. We'll head down to the pits now for you and have a quick look at our grid. Now, reminder of our drivers out the front, stickers there in the Lightning Motorsport car. We just saw Lightning Motorsport in the previous race as well. See what he can accomplish this time around. Team owner for Lightning Motorsport, of course. Tim Durags out front. Now, he's driving for Kung Fu Racing Team. Now, they are the new kids on the block this season. We saw them last week with 2 drivers performing there as well. Now in Division 2, we've got Tim Durags, and I think who the other is. There is another, as Yoda most famously said. But out front currently, Tim Durags. Only a couple of drives under his belt here in Sector 1. Speedy Snoopy in P2. We've got a bit of a livery bug there with him, so I can only see on our screen, the broadcast screen, seeing the original livery for the Honda NSX, which is not a bad livery, but it's not the team livery that they would have slaved away to make for Sector 1. So we'll sort that out for you after qualifying, get that livery back on track. Black Friday.
Now, it's also worth mentioning that tonight in Div 2, we have a couple of fill-in drivers tonight. Karen, the team owner for Deeth Racing, is unable to make it tonight, so filling in for him is a Daz 930. He's racing for team points only, not individual driver points. And we also have the Stranger filling in for Doghouse Motorsport.
Alrighty. He would be replacing...
I'm drawing a mental blank right now.
Yep,
I'm not going to lie.
Look at that. Division 2, Pat Star, most likely. I would
That's
assume.
the one.
Seeing as I haven't seen him so far. Right, so, Tim Durags, Kung Fu Racing, Speedy, Snoopy, AU. I forget which team because he doesn't have his livery on. Well, he does, but we can't see.
Speedy Snoopy is racing for Red Mist Racing.
He's Red Mist, okay.
He is Red Mist Racing. I can see his very brightly multicoloured livery going on there.
Got an identical one right behind him there as well. Black Friday in the trademark livery for Red Mist Racing as well. Race fan behind for CP Motorsports, the FGT cockpit livery on the car there. Dadson for Dadson Racing Team with the beautiful black and gold Bacchus on the side there. Evil Evo 9. Only P6 on track.
Also worth mentioning is I've had a bit of a chat down in pit lane with the RMR guys, and Black Friday is actually not exactly 100% physically right now. He has tested negative to the spicy cough, but he does have a lot of the usual sort of cold and flu symptoms, so he is stocked up on the Nurofen and the Codral and the Lucozade and all of the above to try and help him get through this. So for him to be on the grid tonight is a sensational effort in itself. So
More commitment amongst the Sector 1 community. VTX Blind Man GT, another of our drivers here. Now, I forget who he's driving for. I can't see his livery either. He was Division 1 last season. We've got stickers there. Team owner for Lightning Motorsport. The Stranger for Doghouse. Fill-in. Race fan. We actually had a mix-up of the order now as our drivers have started to come in, drop in their times. Old Wakey for Black Rose Racing has jumped to second on the grid, which is fantastic for him. A great start to the campaign. I think, who else have we go far? Look a little bit further down. Daz for Deeds, as you mentioned before.
There's Mr. Bumcrack for Kraken Racing, and also Race Fan for CP Motorsport. Who's had a bit of a touch up with Blind Man coming through. Let me recall the corner name off the top of my head, which I can't, so I will have to refer to it. I'll get in trouble from Karen if I call it that, so I'm going to have to say Castellini Grande.
Well, Karen's in trouble for not racing for his team, so you know it's.
So I can call it turn 5, is what you're saying?
Tell him not to throw stones in glass houses. That's all I'm saying. Right, Speedy Snoopy currently leads the way. He's purple through the final sector as well, so looking pretty solid right now. Old Wakey next across the line up here. Let's have a look as he goes through the sector split. See if he's up on his time. A little bit of a lift there, probably down. Yep, 1.5 seconds. For him, let's see if Speedy Snoopy can improve for Red Mist. Drives to the line. Div 2 debut. Tim Drags pops up the P2 and 3/10 purple for Speedy Snoopy down to 46.2 now. These are quick times, man.
Tim Drags has just ruined what I was about to say, but what I was about to say was the top 3 on the grid should be noted that they were not running traction control, whereas the next few fastest, 4th, 5th and 6th on the timing sheet so far, were running traction control. And Tim Durax has just completely ruined that by running traction control and slotting himself into P2. So there must be something in that.
Yeah, well, I guess the advantage is not as great as many might like to think. But 3/10 for Speedy Snoopy currently out front. Looking good, looking solid. Great start to his campaign here on debut. Now, he'll be very happy with a start like that, and I'm sure his team owner will feel the same. Very competitive time as well. I believe that would net you sort of a top 8 in Division 1 last week with a qualifying time like that. See if he goes any faster. I don't know if he will, but have a look at his sector time as he comes up over the hill.
I mean, the fastest time I ever managed to set in practice was a 46.4, so a 46.2 is certainly nothing to be sneezed at.
Definitely not. I think the pole lap for Division 1 was 45.6, if I remember correctly. That was
something around those lines, yes.
I get the feeling, I think it was the top 4 were all in the 45s, and the rest were on the 46s, which suggests that Speedy Snoopy would not have been uncompetitive in the Div 1 field last weekend. So, promising signs for him. He'll be happy to hear something like that. Black Friday goes P3.
Tim Durags has decided to come into the pits for a fresh set of boots.
Goes provisional pole with a 46.254.
Oof. I was keeping a close eye on the practice lobbies and in the test races that we were running, just to make sure that there were no qualifying bugs, and Stickers was looking very, very racy this evening. So if you're a betting man, I would not discount him for a podium tonight whatsoever.
Well, he's definitely proving you right there. He's got the fastest lap right now in qualifying with not long to go in the session, and he's purple through the first sector as well, so he's got more time to find. Doesn't look like a fantastic S's though.
He's a little bit wide through the entrance to Verbano.
On the way over the crest here, there is a sector split. He is down. Lost a 10th and a bit there.
Oof, that's not gone well.
So, probably not going to set a better time this lap. but he's going to get one more chance. Speedy Snoopy
do
out
like-
on track.
I do like the way the corner names on this track flow. You've got Tiramisu, then Ariete, then Secco, then Castellini Grande, Verbano, Toscana, and then all of a sudden you've got NASCAR.
The first English name. Actually, what language is tiramisu based in? I'd have to find out.
I would have to hazard a guess at Italian.
Is it? Sounds French.
I'll get back to you on that.
yeah, I think
will
you're going to
do
have to
some.
bust out Dr. Google and let us know.
Yeah, righto. I'll you stick with the action. I will get back to you on that one.
Is tiramisu turn 1 and 2? It's the chicane?
That
Sort of
is
thing?
correct.
Yeah, thought so. I think it's a fitting name. I do like it. Don't discount the name. It's a great name. But I don't know if it's Italian or not. But I'll tell you one thing. NASCAR is most certainly not Italian.
Okay, I am going to have to let you know that tiramisu is 99.9% not French.
Oh, wow.
Tiramisu, also known as a Tuscan trifle, which originated in Treviso in Italy. So if you call it French to an Italian, you
That would
might be
kill
in some
me.
you might be in some trouble.
Oh, lucky I didn't say that in front of Valerio Gallo. I would have gotten in trouble. That's a passionate man. Right, Stickers
Yes.
holds on to provisional pole. He's not faster this lap, so he will not be improving. Speedy Snoopy has the power to unseat him. Should he improve this lap? It's the final sector. He's a .06 down on his time. That's not
If
a
he
lot.
has a good corner capo, and then a great final corner, which the name escapes me right now, but I will get to you in a second. It's known as Corsa, turn 17.
There we go. Out the final corner. Out the final Corsa. To the line.
Does get a good exit. Can he improve?
No,
Oh,
it
3
was
tenths.
Not a great final sector
Oof.
for him. Look at Tim Durags. Dadson goes to P6. They come to the line for the final time. Here we go. No improvements across the board. The Stranger does improve. He goes P9 as a replacement driver. A fill-in driver, you would say. A reserve.
Yep, the fill-in driver, Daz, filling in for Karen, has managed to out-qualify Mr. Bumcrack, which is a huge surprise for me.
And Blind Man as well. Blind Man was a competitor in Division 1 last season as well. So, definitely not a fantastic start his campaign to qualify P12 first time asking, but we'll see if he can make a good ascension through the field during the race. See what he's got. He's got a non-counting 46.9 there, so looks like he picked up a penalty during the lap in which he set that. 47.2 is going to be the one that counts, fortunately.
Oof. Yeah, I will just get some screenshots of those qualifying results.
Good. We're going to go over those qualifying results for the broadcast also. So, qualifying results indeed, there they are. Stickers on pole position. 46.254, enough to keep Speedy Snoopy out of the top spot. Lightning Motorsport car will start from the front of the grid for our 26 lap race. Speedy Snoopy completes the front row. Tim Durags for Kung Fu Racing Team in P3 ahead of Black Friday for Red Mist. And then Evil Evo 9, P5, Dadson P6. Someone who we didn't really talk about too much, but that's a solid starting spot for him. Lunacy, a great performer last season. Off to a shaky start here in Season 8. Perhaps not gelling with the car. Perhaps he was much better suited to the Ferrari. Although, I would think it would be fair to say that going from the Ferrari to the NSX would not be too much of a jump. Because they are both mid-engine cars, both naturally aspirated, and both a little bit loose in the gear. Old Wakey in P8 for Black Rose as well. The Stranger, P9. Daz, P10. Bumcrack, P11. Blind Man, P12. Race Fan P13 and Cruisin rounds out the field in 4th place. Now, what are your
Both rear-engined,
predictions?
both naturally aspirated, and both slightly homicidal. Yeah, it's not a huge leap.
No, not at all. So I think you would tend to think that he would gel pretty well with this particular car. So a little bit surprising to see him so far down, but we'll see if Lunacy can recover. Blind Man's the other one that I want to watch keenly as well, because he tends to. He was Division 1 last season, so of course he earned that spot, and for whatever reason he ended up being pulled down to Division 2. But if you're looking to get that spot back, I'm sure, for next season going forward. But I think we're ready to set this race off.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Now, my prediction is, while we see Evil Evo in P5 at the moment, I would not hesitate to put a cheeky fiver on him finishing on the podium tonight. Mm-hmm.
Eye out for Evil Evo. Amongst others, there are several drivers who could take some great spots here tonight. Stickers will lead us away from the front of the grid ahead of Speedy Snoopy AU for Red Mist Racing. The lights are up, the drivers are ready, and away we go racing. It looks like it's a good start for the 5th place car there. That was Evil Evo, as mentioned before. To the inside goes the second of the Red Mist cars, but Stickers gets through nice and cleanly and holds on to P1 through the first sequence of corners. Oh, we've got a big incident in the background though. The Kung Fu Racing
Durags
car
has gone around.
gone around, and he's probably dead last now. There he is with his teammate cruising. An unfortunate incident in the early stages of the race.
I almost had the words out of my mouth that I was going to say that Division 2 have had a fantastic tiramisu section, and thankfully I didn't say that because, yeah,
Would have been made a liar.
that is a bit unfortunate, but he has recovered nicely. He's sent it past his teammate Cruisin, going into Verbano, and
Check your notes there.
correct, completely checking the track map right there because I don't have it memorized.
Oh wow, that was an awesome move there from the doghouse car. I think that was the doghouse car. Whatever the green one is.
Which doghouse?
No.
That is Evil Evo.
Evil Evo. What car is that? Is that a
That's
doghouse?
the bright
entry?
green one. There's 2 green cars. One is Stickers and one is Evil Evo.
And that is doghouse, isn't it? Okay, sweet. Okay, they're
Currently
changing
in
so much.
P4, yes.
That move on Dadson, we saw that on board with Lunacy, I think, in the background. You got a real nice switchback on Dadson up the inside of NASCAR, like Dadson pulled it up too slow.
Oh, here we go. Old Wakey down the inside of Dadson. Oh, he's having a look down the main straight. Is he going to make a move into Tiramisu?
Thinking about it,
Oh,
Dadson's going to go
Dadson!
for it as well.
Oh.
Slams the door shut. It was great late braking from Dadson there. Ricardo-esque, but they're closing up in the background though. Look at that.
Dadson has gone from offense to defense in a heartbeat. That was some fantastic driving.
We've still got an issue with deliveries, unfortunately. We can't see Blind Man's one, but we're able to see everything else. So we're going to stay on board here with RaceFit and see if he goes for a move on the plumber. Down the inside goes the CP Motorsport car, wheel to wheel, on the way out of something Grande. I'm just going to start calling that corner Ariana Grande.
Castellini Grande, but Ariana works for me as well. I can go with that. As Speedy Snoopy on the back straight coming into NASCAR sticks his nose up the inside of Stickers, goes past before the braking zone.
Because
Just
unable to do anything.
holds him off.
Textbook over.
Sticker,
Textbook
yep,
over.
Stickers knowing exactly what's going on and not putting up too much of a fight there. He's a very smart operator, old mate Stickers.
Look at this pack here from third back though. Black Friday under so much pressure from Evil Evo. Goes defensive. Dadson wants a piece of it too. Round the outside for Evil Evo. Not able to make it work. And Black Friday gives him no room to maneuver.
This is spicy. You've got Black Friday, Evil Evo, Dadson, Old Wakey, Stranger, Blind Man, Lunacy. Or you could throw a blanket over the lot of
They're
them.
nearly 3 wide on the straight. Look at that.
Oh, here we go. Buckle up, boys and girls. This is going to be sensational.
And there's a penalty for Evil Evo as well. He's got a half second on board. Managed to hold off Dadson there. Look at this, though. This is the racing we came to see. Down the inside for the Stranger, too. The Stranger's in this race for team points. The Stranger is a reserve driver.
He's not here to procreate with arachnids. He is here to race.
That man is giving it everything, and he's screaming, "Put me in Div 2." This is amazing from the Stranger. He's
I mean,
giving
as a
it
fellow
good
Div
as
3
he's getting.
driver, I don't object to him going to Div 2. I've got no problem with that.
I'm sure you don't, mate. Right, let's have a look on board with Blind Man, who's a little bit wide there. He's gone loose over the S's there. We're going to have to jump off. He's gone completely around. I wanted to see what the result of the penalty was going to be. Look at that. Someone else has lost it on the straight as well. Evil Evo is gone. He's spun 3 times on the straight. I don't know how that has happened. Oh, wow.
I suspect by the fact that the Stranger is waiting up on the exit of NASCAR that there may have been some involvement there.
Oh, that's terrible as well because, well, obviously the Stranger was in such a good position. And
Cruisin has checked himself up to let the Stranger pass, so it's fantastic to see the sportsmanship going on here in Div 2.
Great sportsmanship on display, but I feel for the Doghouse cars because that was, Doghouse was, what, 6th and 4th or something? And they've gone
4th and 6th, yeah.
6th and 4th to 11th and 13th in the space of a corner. That'd be heartbreaking for those guys. Absolutely.
Although checking back up front, Speedy Snoopy has currently got 3/10 over Sickers, who is currently 4 seconds in front of P3, which is Black Friday. So the top 2 are basically saying, we're running our own race, see you later.
Seems to be a trend of this round so far. We saw it in Division 1. We saw it for a period in Division 4 just gone as well. And now we're seeing it in Division 2 with Stickers and Speedy Snoopy. The only race where we've really seen a train of cars from the top to the bottom. And here goes Stickers down the inside as well. On Speedy Snoopy, it's a mirror move of what we saw earlier in reverse, where Speedy Snoopy's got the cutback on him. Gonna look around the outside up the S's. Can they keep it flat through the second one as well? Manages to hold it together, and Speedy Snoopy takes back first place. Now, I don't know about you, Carbonboy, but I get the feeling that fighting amongst each other like that is not in their best interest.
Well, they have managed to extend out the lead back to Black Friday by another half a second on this lap alone. So, I mean, I know Stickers, he's a very smart operator. He's not going to hinder himself in a completely pointless battle. So if he sees that the guy in front of him is fast enough to get away from the guy who's behind him, he's not going to waste time trying battle. He will just sit there, he'll save fuel, he'll save his tires, and he'll wait for the right time to make the move. He's a very patient...
Exactly what he's doing right now. We just saw him button off on the way into turn 1 when he was right on the back of Speedy Snoopy, well close enough to go for a move. Much the same there into Ariana Grande.
Yep, I'm perfectly good with Ariana right there.
They head through the S's, drops off a little bit, so I think they might have settled down for now. First time today.
And to be fair, dropping off through the S's, aka Verbano, it's not a bad place to just let off the gas a little bit, because these Group 2 cars do create so much dirty air. You can end up washing out the front end and burning your front tires quite easily. So it's makes perfect sense to just ease off, let them go, and you can make that time back up in the slipstream on the back straight before NASCAR.
We've seen tyre wear making a difference in well, so definitely something the guys are going to want to keep in mind. This one.
Just checking back in on Black Friday, Dadson and Old Wakey. Those three have formed back up into a little bit of a battle pack. They've got Lunacy in P6 about 1.2 seconds behind them, but this is something I might keep an eye on as well, because they did sort of part ways a little bit around lap 3, but 2 laps later they have reformed back together.
Goes Dadson as well. Oh, thought about it.
He thought about it. He definitely thought about that.
Looks like Old Wakey feels like he's being forced to have a crack around the outside.
And just looking
like
further back down the grid.
Yep.
Back in P8, Race Fan, who's sort of flown under the radar so far this race, and even in qualifying, he's got himself into a P8 nice and solidly. He's about 1 second, just under 1 second behind Tim Durags in P7. So I've got the feeling the way he's driving at the moment, he's setting himself up for the long haul, not going too hard too early, just getting himself into a rhythm. And I think after the first pit stop, I think that's when we'll see Race Fan pull out his true race pace.
It'll be interesting to see people playing the long game, playing the strategy. Here goes Dadson on the outside of Black Friday on the way towards NASCAR. It's going to be clear by the time they hit the brakes. Black Friday down the inside. Dadson looks to get the exit. Can't quite make it happen.
That was a fantastic piece of braking from Black Friday right there. That was beautiful.
It was really well timed, wasn't it? Dadson again for thinking about it. Black Friday, staunch in his defense, not overcommitting, but committing enough to tell Dadson to back off.
I'm liking Old Wakey's strategy here, just sort of easing off, sitting back, watching the two in front of him go hammer and tong. It's a good strategy. You let the two guys who are going to have a battle have their battle, don't get yourself involved, and then when the dust settles, you just pick up the scraps.
Yeah, he's probably having a chat to his teammate behind him, just saying, just wait, just watch these guys. See what happens. See what happens.
Oh, yes, I did not even notice Lunacy is 3/10 right behind there. Yep. They would definitely be on the radio to each other saying, yeah, we'll just let these two guys battle and we'll pick up the pieces. Or as Lunacy is a very, very all over the shop coming out of Tiramisu. Sorry, that is not tiramisu. That is Alete. Alete. I should know that corner name because I binned it at that corner.
Yeah, very memorable corner for you. Well, at what point do you think they do the old invert positions, teammates invert position sort of thing?
Lunacy has dropped back. He's about 5/10 behind now. He was up at around the 2/10 mark. So I think old Wakey might just have the legs over him on this one. So
Yeah,
I think it might be in Lunacy's best interest to just sit behind Wakey, let him do the hard yards. Oh,
Dadson's gone through. Wow, that was amazing. We hardly talked about that. And into the side of the three of them are sideways. And through go the black rose cars. We talked about it before.
Oh, there's a commentator's curse coming into it right there.
Wow. That was crazy. That was absolute chaos between those three. Black Friday into the side of Old Wakey and Tim Durags. Wow, and a little bump there from Lunacy as well. Gives him a little bit of a look in at his teammate and sideways. And Lunacy takes advantage. 4D chess from Lunacy. Gives Black Friday the pressure to go for a send in a compromised position on Old Wakey. And takes advantage at turn 2.
I think Black Friday took just a little bit too much of the ripple strip on turn 1, which, having learned from experience, does tend to upset this car quite a lot if you take too much. You can take a little bit, you take too much and the rear end kind of wants to overtake the front end, which is not ideal.
No, yeah, you don't want that. It does get very unsettled through there. You just saw Tim Durags go through on Race Fan. These guys will be trying to catch the trifecta up ahead. We're actually going to jump ahead these guys and look at the Black Rose cars side by side. Black Friday undoubtedly going to go for the move and try follow Lunacy through on his teammate.
And he does.
Old Wakey gets the exit though. Look at this. He's going to fight it back, I think. No, can't quite do it. He's got the overspeed, but he's got nowhere to use it. He's going to try down the inside again. These guys are going at it tooth and nail here. Every corner, it seems, there's a position change. Absolutely remarkable.
And just doing a CP Motorsports check-in, Racefan is up to P6.
Right there in this pack now. Looking at Black Friday.
He is the stealth bomber in this race. He's just slipped in, done what he needs to do, and he's getting out without anyone noticing.
Down the inside for both Black Friday and Racefan. Racefan's going to try it again
Oh!
on Old Wakey, and Old Wakey shuffled out wide. Racefan's just about going to go through. He ends up on the outside of Old Wakey. I don't know what happened there. He got compromised on the way through the second half of Tiramisu.
I think he just tried to get the power down a little bit early, and the rear end got squirmy.
He's having
and
a
that
go.
allowed Old Wakey to get a much better exit out of turn 2. So they've resumed positions, but don't count this battle as being over just yet.
Oh no, I wouldn't dream of it. There has been a lead change as well. Stickers has gotten the better of Speedy Snoopy at some point, but I'm sure it was a textbook move.
Seeing that we're on lap 9 and a couple of laps until our next pit stop, would you like to check in on a fuel and tyre situation?
I think that's a good shout. I reckon you let us know what's going on right now.
Rightio. So in terms of fuel, Stickers and Speedy Snoopy are fairly on par at half a tank of fuel. The noticeable thing is that Stickers is about 50% worn on all 4 tyres, whereas Speedy Snoopy is a good 5 to 10% better on tyre wear than Stickers in front of him. And then dropping back to Black Friday in P3, who's currently just over half a tank of fuel, is doing fantastic in terms of fuel conservation.
Got a driver in there too, Lunacy's in for that.
Oh, hello. He's gone the undercut situation. Where is he at? Well, he is at about 45% fuel, and he's got about 30% left on all 4 tyres. So he was absolutely, for the lack of a better word, cooking those tyres. So that'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see whether he can go 16 laps or whether he's going for a 2-stop strategy.
I think we might be seeing our first 2-stop of this round from Lunacy, because I don't think you can make 16 laps on fuel. 17 laps even. 17 laps on fuel, wouldn't it?
Oh, you probably could, but I wouldn't want to try it.
We saw him come in with 45 litres on board after 9 laps, which theory would suggest you could make 18. Just about make 18 laps based on that. On a full tank of fuel.
I suspect Lunacy is going for a 2-stopper.
I think he might be.
As Speedy Snoopy is looking very aggressive down the inside of Stickers at corner capo. Makes a move. Stickers wants to argue the point though. He is right back under that rear wing.
What else have we got in terms of tyres and fuel? Who's looking strong?
Who's looking strong? Well, in terms of tyres, in P6, Tim DeRags is looking amazing on tyres. He has probably used about 30% of his front tyres and 50% of his rears, which compared to others around him, he's doing a lot better on his front tyres than either Racefan or Dadson. They're about equal on the rears and on the fuel. Although Dadson in P7, who's nearly 3 seconds behind him, is a little bit worse for wear for fuel.
A little bit of a fuel disadvantage there. Now,
Yeah, but
5 litres is worth about a second. So, that's the magic number that the guys have got to remember. Every 5 litres you save is worth a second stop. So, if Tim Durags, for example, was to have 10 litres more fuel at the pit stop than the drivers in front of him, he would jump all 3 of them. And in fact now, he's arguing the point with Racefan down the inside into the left-hander.
Oh, someone's gone off. I've got a yellow flag for
I
Black
see a
Friday
yellow
in
flag
P3.
also.
Stickers has gone. Stickers has lost it
Oh,
somehow
no.
at either in Verbano somewhere.
He's on the back foot there. I think he's done what we saw happen to GDR last week.
And that's let Black Friday and Old Wakey slip on
It
past.
has, and he's going to get forced wide as well, nearly onto the grass,
Ooh.
as there's a little bit of contact between the other two as they're fighting their way through.
Oh, that was a bit forceful there.
Yeah, Stickers just, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time for that one. He's going to have to recover from here then, 5th place. I think he's got the pace to get by these guys again, but...
He's going to struggle doing that because out of the top 5, Stickers is definitely the worst off for tyres. He's probably got about 30% remaining on all 4, whereas someone like Tim Durags in front of him has at least 50% on the fronts and about 40% on the rears, with a fuel advantage as well. So far, the best off in the top 5 would probably be Black Friday, who's sitting at about just over 40% fuel at the moment still, and about 40% on his front tyres, maybe 35 to 40 on his rears. So he's doing really, really well in terms of saving time in the pit stop, because while he has Old Wakey, 2-3 tenths behind him, looking at their fuel situation, Black Friday's got an easy 5% fuel advantage over Old Wakey. So there's a second in the pit stop right there.
The advantage. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm Stickers, I think I would have pitted at the end of lap 11, pulled the Bogsy S strategy from the last race. Okay, let's have a quick look at Old Wakey down the inside.
Old Wakey.
Of
Yep.
Black Friday. Back from our tire and fuel update. Here we are. Old Wakey goes through into second. And just about in time for the pit stops. PD Snoopy's going to have a pretty light challenge for the rest of the race. That 15-second lead. These guys fighting amongst one another so much. Down the inside for Black Friday at the last corner. It's not usually a corner that you would expect someone to go for a move like that, but he makes it work. Horsa proves to be his corner. Tim Durags and Stickers are in at the end of 12. Bit of an advantage for Tim Durags there. Stickers not looking too flash for fuel, so not too bad. Old Wakey wants to get by Black Friday here. Yeah, a difficult thing to do though. Now, Carbonboy, can you remind me, if you can remember, where our Tim Durags finished qualifying? Because I've got a message in the chat here saying that he's gone from last to 4th place prior to the pit stops. Of course. Is that the case? And if so, what a drive he's had. Tim Durags currently P9. He's done his pit stop. I think he might be leading the stoppers apart from Lunacy, who has definitely short fuel because he's 15 seconds clear. Lunacy definitely on a 2-stop now. And with the fastest lap as well. 46.2 on the board. On for a 45 this lap for Black Rose. Now that is hugely impressive, and that's the pace that we expected to see from the young man who performed so well last season in manufacturer style competition in that Ferrari, which was so poor over the whole season. Managed to snag himself a race win. multiple podiums.
Speedy Snoopy in the pits.
With 29 litres in the tank.
And Black Friday goes around again. Old Wakey comes into the pits.
I want to see this drive to the line from Lunacy. This is going to be a 45.9 or a 45.8. Oh, 46.1.
So I can confirm Tim Durag started the race in P3.
Okay. Someone said last. He might have been actually the he might have been one of the ones that ended up spinning at the exit of turn 2, which we never actually looked at. I'm gonna have a quick check and see if we can.
Yes, he was the one who ended up 90 degrees in the wrong direction at the exit of Tiramisu on lap 1.
It has been a recovery drive. He didn't qualify that far down, but he's got himself back up there, that's for sure. Now, Lunacy has jumped Speedy Snoopy in the pits, but he's clearly short-fueled because he's got a massive advantage on the nearest drivers to him from the first stint.
100% he's doing a 2-stop because he's currently just above a quarter of a tank, whereas Speedy Snoopy behind him is just a little bit under 3/4 of a tank. So if Lunacy's not going for the 2-stop, he's going to have to, because he will run out of fuel long before he gets to the finish line.
No. Gives it away. We do have a 2-stopper.
Which is interesting because Black Friday in P1 actually has more fuel than Lunacy does, and Black Friday is going for the 1-stop. And I suspect he's heading into the pits right about now, which he is.
Oh, Black Friday hadn't pitted. So I wonder if Lunacy
he had
did not fuel at all when he boxed. Must be.
If he did, it would have been a few percent just to get him through his middle stint. As Black Friday is filling up as we speak, he is on 69% as he comes out of the pits. Nice.
Old Wakey, P5, behind Stickers, head of Black Friday. That pit exit is dangerous too, because you find yourself on the inside for turn 1. Got cars barreling down the straight, hard on the brakes into that corner.
Yeah, if you come out at the wrong time, it's kind of a Hail Mary kind of moment and just hope for the best.
So out the front, Lunacy leads the way, owing another pit stop. Probably going to drop him down below 8th, maybe even further, I think, because he's going to have to fill up a bit.
I would hazard a guess he'll come out of the pits in P10.
As you're currently 29 seconds off him.
But to be fair, Daz in P10, doing a commendable fill-in drive for Karen tonight, sitting in P10, racking up those team points for Deeds Racing.
Yes, indeed. Poor the Stranger, though. We saw him battling it out with the best of them in the early stages of the race, but unfortunately that incident seems to have thrown him for 6, because he's off the back by a fair bit, so it's just going to be consolation team points this one, unfortunately for him. It was looking really strong in the early stages, but quite able to make it happen.
Now, if you were that way inclined, you could almost argue a case that Daz is doing better than what Karen could have, but I'm not that kind of person, so I'm not going to make that argument.
Well, I will not comment on that, but you know, you're entitled to your opinion, as is Karen. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if it is wrong. Well, I will not tell you which of the two is wrong, because I don't know.
No.
Nor will I tell you my opinion on it, because
I'm disappointed.
Spice up
anyway,
the broadcast.
Back to the racing action, as I'm expecting to cop some messages from our Lord and Saviour Karen. sometime in the near future. We've got Speedy Snoopy, who is making some minor inroads into lunacy, who is going to have to pit sometime in the very near future because he is down to about 15% fuel. But he does also hold the fastest lap at the moment with a 146.149, which is, yeah, that's pretty darn quick.
Faster than the pole lap was, and Lunacy's knocking on the door of a 45 with a split, as is Speedy Snoopy, in fact, who was purple by a tenth and a half as they came over the hill.
And Speedy Snoopy's just set a 46.3, so he's not exactly mucking about either.
No, exactly. He's definitely throwing his name in the mix and trying to steal back that fastest lap. Looks like Lunacy's getting a bit squirrely. This will be 9 laps to go after this one, so I imagine he'll be back in at the end of this lap.
It does make you wonder, do the drivers behind Lunacy know what he's doing? Do they know that he's running a two-stop or not? As
I imagine
Speedy
Snoopy will have questions.
Speedy Snoopy is 1.5 tenths purple through the first sector as he just gets checked up a little bit there by Lunacy through Ariana Grande.
Excellent choice of corner names. I expect to see Speedy Snoopy fly through on the way to NASCAR this time around too.
I do see a right-hand indicator on from Lunacy, so I completely agree with you there.
Clearly, Lunacy understands that he is not racing for the win in this one.
Yep. It's good to see that drivers who know they're on a different strategy to the other guys can still communicate. They don't want to mess up their race, and they don't want to mess up someone else's race in the process. That's fantastic to see.
Drags in P3, solid performance so far. And
that is a fantastic
P2 as well.
That is a fantastic recovery considering the lap 1 drama that happened. To get himself back to where he started from, that is a sensational effort as Lunacy comes into the pits. Now, I will keep an eye on him and I'll let you know where he comes out on track.
Let's have a look where Lineman is. Been 5.5 seconds down on where Lunacy was at the time. Get the feeling he's not going to catch him. Daz might have a better chance. No, Evil Evo.
Lunacy's out of the pits in P8.
Now that is a good result for a two-stop, I think, so far. And he will have pace on Dadson in front as well.
He will definitely have
traded tyres.
He will definitely have at least a 10% tyre advantage. Fuel situation is about identical, but tyres, he is easily 10% up.
So, might be a grandstand finish for Lunacy, late stages of this one, as he begins his last stint. Speedy Snoopy with a 16-second lead now. Tim Durags inherits second position after that change, and heads through the second sector, 2/10 purple as well. So I would be very interested to see if this results in a fastest lap. Through NASCAR and up the hill, Tim Durags might be looking to unseat that fastest lap. Sticker's currently with the fastest lap actually, at 46.094. Awesome. To put it down when it counted. Speedy Snoopy goes faster with a 45.978. The first driver into the 45s.
Holy well, they're doing quali laps in race. That is mind-boggling.
I think that 46.196 from Tim Durags is 2/10 off the fastest lap. Crazy. The racing team happy with the performance so far, most definitely. Second of their drivers a little bit further down. Tim Durags putting a great performance on here for Kung Fu Racing team. New kids on the block. They are more than happy to call themselves. Team of very tight-knit team by all accounts. Lots of very, very close relationships in there. Really, really good team environment.
I'm just keeping an eye on the delta between Stickers and Tim Durags at the moment. It's hovering at about that 1.6 second mark. But just looking at the tyres, Tim Durags is probably at least an easy 5% better off on tyres and Stickers behind him at the moment. So Stickers is really making that car work, trying to make inroads, and he has taken a tenth off him in the last sector, but is that extra effort going to come back and bite him in terms of tyre wear in the final laps of this race? That is the question.
That's the balance you've got to find, isn't it? The pace versus tyre life. Get as far as you can, as quickly as possible on tyres. The same goes for fuel as well. You've got to push the car the right amount, get there, get that pace, extract that pace from the car. Did a pretty good job of it. At 20 now, 26. 7 laps to go, including this one. Currently our leader, Speedy Snoopy AU, with 16 seconds to his name. Cruise home from here, more or less. Can afford to lose over a second a lap with no consequences. Durags in P2, stunning recovery drive so far. After a second corner incident on the first lap. Spun around. Whether he spun on his own or by someone else remains to be seen. Fortunately on the broadcast we won't see it. Do not have replayability. That's on me, that one. That's my fault. Storage space too full in the Gran Turismo archive by account, so I have to go delete some race plays to free that up again.
The field has spread themselves out a little bit. There's a lot of roughly 2-second gaps, as Lunacy has currently gone purple through the second last sector as he come through Corner Capo. I'm just got it right on board with him. I reckon he might be able to knock off Speedy Snoopy's fastest lap here.
And that'll be huge. That's one of the big parts of this two-stop. You really want to get that fastest lap.
Didn't have the greatest Corsa. 45.997.
So close.
Oh, he is going to be absolutely spewing over that one.
That's one of the things you really have to get on a strategy like this too, is that fastest lap is crucial. The point.
Yeah, that extra point can make up for the position or two that you might lose running a two-stop as opposed to the one-stop.
I get the feeling he is going to challenge Dadson before long. Pace is looking good.
Yeah, that gap has dropped down from 2 and a bit seconds down to 1.5 at the moment. So he's made a few tenths inroads, so he's down to 1.3 now.
Oh. Nothing fear, nothing fear. His enemy in the distance. Not so distant distance.
What has he got? He's got five laps to go. He's down to 1.3 seconds. I'd say by lap 23, this battle between Lunacy and Dadson is going to be on for young and old.
Quite literally for young and old. Lunacy, still a teenager by all accounts, and Dadson, first half of his name, tell you enough about that. And
as somebody who is knocking on the door of 40 themselves, I'm not going to comment.
Definitely two people from different generations here on track, I think. Lunacy.
Absolutely.
Dadson. So, chasing him down. Like you say, on for young and old. It's a matter of when and not if for Lunacy right now. But the question is not will he catch Dadson. It's will he get past Dadson. And that, I think, is beyond Lunacy's control. That lies in the hands of Dadson in P7. He will control whether or not Lunacy can get through.
Oh, Lunacy is 2/10 purple through that first sector. He is a man on a mission. And looking at the tyre situation, Lunacy has about 10 to 15% tyre wear on all 4 tyres, whereas Dadson in front of him is looking more about the 30-35% worn mark. So Lunacy definitely has the advantage here. Fuel situation, they are completely identical, but in terms of grip, Lunacy most certainly has the advantage and knows it. Or as Dadson goes wide in NASCAR. There we go.
Lunacy goes straight through. There it is. And that was it. That was what I was saying. It's down to Dadson, and Dadson slipped up, made a mistake, and Lunacy seized the opportunity with both hands. No surprises there. Breakthrough.
Just quietly up in P3 and P4, Black Friday and Stickers are neck and neck coming through Corsa onto the main straight.
Black Friday, he's not afraid to go for a move. Here we go to the inside of Tiramisu. Stickers tries to cut him off.
A little bit of touchy. That's okay.
Around the outside. Or 2 wheels onto the grass there for Black Friday as well. Give and take from each.
There is a very noticeable tyre difference with Stickers being probably about 50% worn on all 4 tyres, whereas Black Friday has looked after his tyres a lot more, and he's probably only around the 30% worn mark, so he has a very significant grip advantage over Stickers through the later stages of this race. So I think it's going to be a matter of when, not if, he gets past.
I'm on board with Old Wakey, and I've got a bit of deja vu here, Carbonboy. When's the last time we sat on board with Old Wakey and watched 2 guys wrap it out with 100% gusto?
I'd say that was about 12 laps ago, 13 maybe.
Yeah, Old Wakey seems to like this, sitting behind a bell and just waiting for the guys to make a mistake, and it opened up for him last time, and it looks like he's relying on the same thing happening again.
He is a crafty fox, he is. He's not silly. He sees what's going on in front of him and says, you know what? I don't want a part of that. I'll just let you two do your thing, and I'll pick up whatever's left. Thank you very much.
Be a winning strategy right now, and it's worth noting as well that Old Wakey has not been mucking around this race either, because his fastest lap is a 46.239. That's less than 3/10 slower than the fastest lap. So he's been on pace too. So it's just a testament to how competitive this field here is in Division 2.
And his tyres are not that far behind Black Friday in front of him. They are certainly better than Stickers as well. So Stickers is going to have to pull defensive driving 101 for the next 3 laps. 4 laps. 24, 25, 26. 3 laps. Sorry, I can count. As Black Friday sends it down the inside of Ariana Grande.
And I think we might see much the same for Lunacy very, very shortly. Old Wakey taking advantage of the overtaking going on in front of him. Jump on board with Lunacy as we head down to NASCAR. Through the S's. Race fans
Lunacy. Oh, that's not NASCAR.
Lunacy goes through.
That is Verbano.
That's into P6 for Lunacy. They're nearly 3 wide at NASCAR now. Old Wakey. Oh, Black Friday ends up in the dirt. It looked like it might have been lag contact. Lunacy nearly into the side of him as he rejoins as well, and now it's just Old Wakey and Stickers to the line.
You've got Race Fan and Dadson coming in hot on Black Friday.
Look, with our
Race
guys
fan
down here.
down the inside of corner Capo. Makes it stick under brakes. Holds his line. Very well done.
Friday looking for a move back, not able to make it happen. A little bit of contact with Dadson maybe on the way through. Hard to tell.
Black Friday being very conscious of his dirty tyres through that section.
Dadson's got an opportunity here. Can't afford to squander it.
Is he going to make a move into Tiramisu? Has a look.
Dadson likes to show the nose. There he goes down the inside. Black Friday can do nothing as Dadson slides on through up the inside on the way through turn number 1. Take the racing line through 3, 4. Dadson takes the position.
So Stickers has been given a little bit of breathing space in P3 at the moment. He's got 4/10 back to Old Wakey, but Stickers is on the fuel light at this stage with about 25-30% tyres left at most. Whereas Old Wakey, right behind him in his slipstream, is not on the fuel light and has 35 to 40% tyres as Stickers goes defensive down the back straight.
Old Wakey to the outside. Over the crest, the front wheels take off. Very little steering grip around the outside. Not quite able to do it. But Old Wakey gets on the power incorrectly. And
no!
Straight into the fence. I've seen a world champion do that. That is such an easy mistake to make. And Old Wakey drops like a stone. Lunacy up into P4 now. Stickers P3.
Oh, that is a major free kick for Stickers, who's now got 2.5 seconds back to Lunacy, who has got 3 seconds back to Race Fan, who... And this is a fantastic little battle pack here in P6 and 7 and 8.
3.5 seconds for Black Friday.
I don't understand the 3.5 seconds. I saw him with a half second penalty earlier, but
the 3 second is a contact penalty of some sort. It's either a wall collision penalty or for pushing a car off the track. Well, it shouldn't be for pushing a car off the track because
it can't be,
because we don't have those turned on.
Correct.
Pit lane lines is the only other thing that I know gives 3 seconds, but that is still unexpected. This is the last lap, by the way. Speedy Snoopy leads the way. 20 seconds clear. A dominant display. Tim Durag's in second after recovering from last place. Stickers in third for Lightning Motorsport. Lunacy on a 2-stop is in 4th place. This is not a drill.
Sensational effort.
This is not a drill. Lunacy is in 4th place on a 2-stop strategy. And he's catching Stickers. Unreal. Picking up Speedy Snoopy towards Corsa. It's his debut in Sector 1. It's a fantastic drive from the debutant for Red Mist Racing. Victory shall be had.
Well done,
Division
Snoopy.
2. What a drive. A dominant display. Another dominant display. Tim Durags, what a result it is for him as well. I wonder what would have been had he not been spun in the early stages of the first lap.
You're not going to sneeze at a P2 recovery drive, though.
No, absolutely not. Stickers P3
He was-
holds off Lunacy. 1.4.
He was down to P12 at one stage, so to get back on the second step of the podium, you're not going to argue with that.
But Black Friday P8 after serving a 3.5 second penalty, and word on the street is that that 3 second was for ignoring a yellow flag.
Oh, ouch. Yep, I did have a look over the event settings, and we definitely have all those other penalties turned off, so that's the only logical conclusion I can come to as well, is ignoring a yellow flag, which is a bit harsh, I think. But unfortunately, GT7 doing GT7 things, there's not a lot we can do about that. So unfortunate there for Black Friday.
But a race it was. And a race that rounds out round number 1 here for Season 8. We are off with a bang, I think, here in Season 8 of Sector 1. What
All right,
a
now
start
for
to the season it's been.
driver of the day, I'm a little bit torn. I've got 3 names rolling off my tongue, and they are Tim Durags, Stickers, and Lunacy. Tim Durags for his absolutely fantastic recovery drive, coming back from starting P3, ending back P12, finishing in P2. Stickers finishing P3 in a amazingly consistent performance. And then there's P4, which is Lunacy, finishing P4, running a 2-stop strategy. I'd flip a coin, but a coin only has 2 sides, so I can't use that method. So I'm going to have to give my driver of the day to Lunacy, running the alternative strategy, finishing just outside of the podium, running an alternative strategy and finishing just outside of the podium. Yeah, commendable effort. So that's my nomination for driver of the day.
I tend to agree with you. The Lunacy had a fantastic drive, making that 2-stop work. Stickers was clinical all the way through, and Tim Durags gets my vote because going from 14th to 2nd is an insane recovery and something that no one ever would have expected. We saw the Kung Fu cars at the back after that incident, and it was like, oh well, race over for them. No, Tim Durags said no. I don't think so. Not on my watch. So, a great result for him. Speedy Snoopy, of course, dominant. I wonder how it would have gone had Tim Durags not been the butt of that incident in the early stages. And he may not have lost that gap to Speedy Snoopy and may have put up a bit of a fight. I think Dadson had a really good race as well. Consistently there or thereabouts. Evil Evo, Black Friday P8. Old Wakey, I feel, was stitched up a little bit with that incident in the late stages. He had a fantastic race as well. Daz 930, Blind Man in P11, Cruise in P12, Bumcrack or The Plumber in P13, Stranger P14 for team points. Daz was the Deeds entry for team points, so
For Karen, yes.
really good there. Really good result. Some would argue better than Karen would have achieved in the same race. I'm not going to say either side of that one. I'll let you be the judge. But 10th is great for a reserve driver. No 2 ways about it. That's great team points, and I'm sure Karen will be happy with that fill-in job right there. A fastest lap for Speedy Snoopy as well. Lunacy will be wanted not to pop that back into the 5s as well, but not to be for him.
Yeah, that was manic. There was not a lot of rest time.
There was a lot going on in that race.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I am exhausted. It is particularly late over here, but I am exhausted. But that is, everyone, round 1 complete for Season 8 of Sector 1 Sim Racing. We say goodbye to Maggiore in Italy, and we move on to Austria, just around the corner at the Red Bull Ring next week for Division 3 and Division 1 Group A. We will be driving the NSX once again at Red Bull Ring, and weather may play a factor. We're yet to find out about that.
Ooh, spicy. I like it.
You guys will look forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching it. I don't believe I'm on streaming duties for the next round at all. So I'm going to get to kick back with a cold brew and watch those ones. That'll be a great time, I think. So many thanks to everyone who watched along with us tonight. A great night of action. Please leave a like on the video if you haven't already. We want to get that algorithm pumping, get us promoted to as many watchful eyes as we can, because we want to give the joy of Sector 1 to everyone we possibly can. Subscribe if you are new and you want to see more videos and streams like this one. We are live every Sunday, second Thursday for the community series as well. If you want to get involved in the community series, the Discord link is also in the description below the video. Join in there, join the community, and get involved in the casual races Thursday night. Well, we're done for the night, though. That's round 1 complete. We move on to Austria next week, and we will see you there.
enjoy your travels, and
And
we will.
I
be
would
it
just
from
like to
us.
say that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You will be given a bit of a reprieve from my voice for the next month. I am flying out of the country tomorrow, so enjoy the break and enjoy all of the efforts of our new soon-to-be blooded race directors and commentators this season.
Yeah, it's been really successful so far. So really happy with how things are
They
going.
they ha-
So
they have done a fantastic job. I am amazingly proud of the guys who've put their hands up to help out in terms of race directors and comms this season. They've done a fantastic job, and I do not anticipate seeing anything other than an amazing effort from them in the future. So it's good
you
to see.
enjoy your holiday, mate. It's a well-earned break for you, whether it's from real work or your work here at Sector One. You definitely deserve a break. So
All of
enjoy
the
that.
above. All of the above.
Very good. All right. Well, we will see you guys all later. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all in Austria. Bye for now.